the love we share for our people, for our care. We'd have never seen these blessings flow or felt this light, this sacred glow. Through every trial, we held on tight, guided by love's eternal light. For the ones who came before, we stand together forevermore. Oh, the greatest gift is love divine, a bond so strong it stands through time. For our people, for you and me, this love has set our spirits free. We've walked through years, hand in hand, built our dreams upon this land. With every step, our love has grown, a legacy carved in stone. It's not the world's wealth or its pride, but the love for our kin that's been our guide. This Christmas season, we look above and thank the stars for this gift of love. Oh, the greatest gift is love divine, a bond so strong it stands through time. For our people, for you and me, this love has set our spirits free. The strength to live, the hope to fight, the joy that fills this holy night. It's all because we dare to care, to love our own and always share. Oh, the greatest gift is love divine, a bond so strong it stands through time. For our people, for you and me, this love has set our spirits free.
The following is brought to you in part by a grant from the Foundation for White Wellbeing.
Drowning in the argument, the anti-white says, what exactly is anti-white? You have got to be animated with the righteous passion of reclaiming our destiny. We are the heroes of this era. We are rolling in. Everybody hear me okay? There should be some sugar plums dancing in the background if it's working properly. Let's see, I got to open up these screens to make sure that everything's working over here. There we go. Hello, everybody. Rolling in. I assume you can hear me okay. Let me know. Tag me. No white guilt. Over the course of this roll-in gathering, we're going to take a look at a couple of items. We actually, there's a ton of news out there. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get to all of it. That's not what we do, but we are here at the Church of the West. This is the Church of the West, and I'm your Pope, Pope Jason Köhne, Emperor of Western Kind. I'm your Pope here, and we're going to be talking about a couple of items, obviously the ones we named in the title, and sound is great. All right, thank you. And we're going to be talking about, there's some other items though. I mean, we have a Capitol Police arrest for a transgender person decided to beat the crap out of Nancy Mace, or the equivalent. We'll take a quick look at that. We have, let's see. And we're going to talk about the sewage running through the streets. The sewage running through the streets in Disney World. But specifically, not so much. That's not really our function here. Our function is to take a look at where our people are being led astray very often and talk about how they are led astray so that we can bring people in, so that they can be part of the cure rather than part of the disease. And Cuck-servative content creators, they are the disease manifest. Manifest. We're going to talk about Daniel Penny, where he is now. We're going to talk about, can you believe I named that little kid from the audio Luigi? And then Luigi Mangione ended up being the murderer of Brian Thompson. What are the odds that Luigi, how often over the course of the year do you hear the name? But we'll talk about that. We have, what else did we have on tap? There actually, like I said, there are quite a few news stories, but we'll see. We're not going to get to all of them. Your comments, your questions, your concerns, make sure you tag me across the multifarious platforms that we are on, so that I can see what you have to say. If you have any questions, that's what this is all about, learning at the Church of the West. If you would like to financially gift over the course of the gathering, you can do so at Dude Bro Moment platform, otherwise known as Entropy, which is up and running. Also Premium Rumble, which I'm going to leave on this screen. So if you write in the live chat over there, I'll be able to see that. Live chat for Twitter is up right here. I'll be able to see that when you chat there. D Live, you'll be able to financially gift there if you would like to do so. Also, of course, Odyssey is an option. Finally, you have Cash App and Subscribestar, all of which I'll be keeping an eye on over the course of the gathering. Do not forget the foundation for whitewellbeing.com or .org. The foundation for whitewellbeing.com or .org. And you can financially gift by way of a donation instead. And this is a 501c3, so it's tax deductible. But like I said, otherwise, @ no white guilt. No white guilt. And I think everything is that. There's the great biospirit of the West. He's making turkey enchiladas with no white guilt. Good to see you. What do you mean pissed his pants? JB's asking from Florida. Well, we'll get into that in just a moment. First, I want to take a look at, because this is just, actually, you know what? Let's get into the mood. Let's get into the mood in one moment. I want to ask you all at the very beginning, though, before we get rolling, something a little bit more serious. One member of our community has been diagnosed with cancer. So please pray for a member of our community, he and his family, that they are able to address this cancer and take care of it and be remedied. So please, prayers and positive energy for a member of our community diagnosed with cancer on this day. We got to pull together. We have to send positive energy to each other when we're not well, when we're in hard times. Got to ask the good Lord above for help, because things are only going to get harder in the West as it becomes more white erased. Having said that, let's set the table. We do have a question of the day. We're going to get to the question of the day. We'll put it up on the screen too. We actually have two questions, but we'll get to that after sort of setting the tone for this roll in. Let's set the tone with this young man. He was purchased this little car by his parents, and he was loving it. He was driving around in this little car powered by his own two little legs, and he got stuck in the snow right there in the driveway. Wasn't very happy about that. Let's listen to the young man. Somebody should make this their ringer on their phone. Piece of shit. No, kids, don't talk that way. How would you like to be in the office and you're in a meeting? You're in the meeting, even teleconference, but you're there in the meeting, and all of a sudden the phone starts ringing with this. Gotta love him. Gotta love him. So, question of the day as we get started here. Piece of shit! As we get started here today. Question number 1. Are you a fix-it-yourself kind of a person? And what have you wrecked? Are you the kind of person who likes to say, oh, no, I'll fix it myself? No, even though other people undergo years and years of training to do that, I will just do that now with a YouTube video. Are you one of those kind of people? If so, what have you wrecked? How bad has the wreck been? And how much did it cost to have the actual professionals come in and do it for you? So that is one of them. And I have maybe a little story for that. And then question number two. And remember, with these questions of the day, you have to tag me as No White Guilt if you want me to see your response and you want me to maybe respond to it, read it out loud. Question number 2. What's your opinion on garden gnomes and pink flamingos? That is not at all out of left field. But what is your opinion on garden gnomes or pink flamingos, or both for that matter? You could answer both of these questions or one. It's up to you, but those are our questions of the day as we get ready to get started. Piece of shit! Piece of shit! Instantly know quite a lot about probably his father, but maybe his mother. Biospirit of the West is in there right away. Pink flamingos and garden gnomes are tacky. They are tacky. Tic-tac tacky. I could tell, actually, I got a story, 2 stories for the second question, at least one story for the first question that I could potentially get into. Samuski is here. Great to see you, brother. Save Western civilization now. JK160. CKO freedom. Definitely tacky, he says. We got tacky coming in on the garden gnomes and the pink flamingos. Tacky. Anybody? Are you a do-it-yourself? Are you a, I'll just fix that and everything goes bad? Strength to family. Is that Vitlaus? Do I got that right or wrong? Where are my spectacles? Where are my spectacles? We have to really make fun of some cuck-servative content creators today because they're dominating the world. And they are poison. Cuck-servative content creators. All right, everything is running good over here. Everything is running fantastically. I work on my own truck, learning from YouTube, says Samuski. So far, so good. With replacing the fuel filter. Oh, you did the fuel filter on the truck from YouTube? Wow. The alternator. Nice. You did the serpentine belt as well? Wow. And the tensioner pulley had gone bad? He says, pink flamingos rock. Marilyn is with us. Ivan the Horrible has entered. The questions of the day, there are 2. And you can find eins, zwei. There are zwei, not drei. Zwei questions. So make sure you get in here on whichever question is of your liking. Zwei. What is today? Mittwoch? Mittwoch. Zwei questions. Who else has shown up here today? Tell your friends we're live. Gregory is here. Everybody was like that on cold, damp mornings back when cars had carburetors. Yeah. Yeah. Pizza set. I hope he never goes out of the lisp. That's fantastic. Ash says, garden gnomes riding pink flamingos. All right. I will have to tell a story. Which question should I answer first? Aliens Exist is with us over here on Premium Rumble. He said, sorry, I missed the last couple of live gatherings. Still going free, though. Fantastic. Good to hear it. He said, not a fix-it himself kind of a person, so he hasn't wrecked much. Garden gnomes and pink flamingos make me assume bad things about the owner. Bodies in the basement, perhaps? Don't look here. It's all just fluffy little things. No reason to investigate the basement. Biospirit said his do-it-yourself project paid off with $1 million profit. So we all know who we have to imitate now. Whatever that is, we are all going to imitate that. The Grateful No, Prometheus, hey, my brother, has entered the house. Good to see you. Western Sentinel. The 2 questions are on the screen. You can tag me as No Why Guilt, as maybe we reach out and see if we can find anybody else who would like to join us. We're going to roll, though, here, get into these items and have some fun while we are together. What is going on over here? While we are going free together. Ivan says, question number 1 is leave the problem for a very long time and try to work around it until it gets so bad that Ivan has to do something about it, then try to fix it myself type of person. So many people, my good brother Ivan, are like that. Leave it until the very end, till it can't be put off any longer. Ivan likes the garden gnomes, but the pink flamingos are lame, in the Ivan's opinion. All right. I've actually mentioned this before, 1 or 2 times. I was how old was I? Maybe 15. And I had helped my father do breaks many times, but I had been slacking, quite honestly, and not paying as close attention perhaps as I could have. It's a great example of how you can observe something and then you go to do it and you can't. That's why really to learn, you've got to get some information and then you just got to dig in and start doing it. And then you gather information as you roll. And so my mother needed to go get the car inspected. In Virginia, as in many states, you've got to have the vehicle inspected annually. And so the brakes needed to be done. So I was instructed to go do the brakes. And I did the brakes. And she drove, I don't know, maybe the next day or something to go get the car inspected. No crashes, no crashes. But when she got back, she said that the mechanic came into the office, the waiting area there, and said, "Ma'am, who did your brakes?" And she said, "My son." He said, "Well, he's left a couple things out. I have no idea." I have no idea. It's kind of an important part of the vehicle. And I know I was taking it seriously, but I was very nervous about doing brakes after that. It sort of shook me to my core. And I think I told you all where for years after that, it was certainly the next year, because I was 16, and I did the brakes on my car. And I drove out on the road to make sure they were working. And I saw a girl walking down the highway, or not the highway, but on the sidewalk in the community. I had no idea who she was. And I don't know, she probably was like 14, maybe. And I just drove up and I yelled across the road. I said, hey, I'm going to drive back over this hill and I'm going to come flying and I'm going to slam the brakes on. And I want you to tell me if the wheels on that side all do the same thing. If they lock up or if they anti-lock brake, whatever, or don't do it, or they just roll. And she eyes like this big, terrified. So I went back and I came flying back and I slammed on the brakes. And she's like, I think that one didn't, the one in the back was doing one thing and the one in the front wasn't. And I was like, shit. Yeah, that's how you test things when you're a good old boy. You're just like, let's just take it out and see what happens. Let's see. There's a story actually on the internet today about a McLaren, like a $200,000 McLaren, 29-year-old guy and a 31-year-old guy in the McLaren, and they were being reckless and got into an auto accident with like a Toyota Camry or something. The McLaren was ripped in half. Needless to say, the poor souls, God rest them, both perished in the McLaren. But the person in the Toyota apparently is going to be just fine. So that was my do-it-yourself, at least one of the stories of do-it-yourself that didn't work out all that well. But then I've got at least two stories for the flamingos and the gnomes. So we might have to come back to it. Janice is here. Prometheus Thunder is in the house. Good to see you. So let's have some fun. Remember, tag me as No White Guilt if you have something to say while we are rolling through the items today. Capitol Police arrest man accused of assaulting Representative Nancy Mace. Just wanted to take a quick look at this before we dig into some of the other items because it's kind of hilarious. Put it up on the screen here. Nancy Mace. Now, of course, you know or you might know, you might not know the backstory. New House member was recently elected to office. That is a transgender, born with a penis, but is now a female. And Nancy Mace said no males, biological males in the bathroom. She made a big stink about it, and she is moving to pass legislation to make it against the rules in the Capitol and all of the government buildings for men to go into women's bathrooms. Capitol Police arrest man accused of assaulting Representative Nancy Mace. And we showed you all here some of the threats that were being made to Nancy Mace by some of the wonderful creatures that were making those. I mean, you absolutely picture perfect health in the West today is what they are. Picture perfect health. Excuse me. These people, and they're just like, we're going to kill you. We're going to kill you. Of course, nothing happens to them. They're not even kicked off of their platforms.
Assaulted by a transgender rights activist Tuesday evening at the U.S. Capitol complex. Mace took to X, formerly known as Twitter, to share the incident, saying, "One new brace for my wrist and some ice for the arm. It'll heal just fine." Capitol Police arrested James McIntyre from Illinois in connection with the altercation. Authorities stated that McIntyre was charged with assaulting a government official and that the incident took place in the Rayburn House office building.
Assaulting a government official? Why isn't it just assault? Like, is it a stiffer penalty if you hurt the chosen government officials?
Which was open to the public at the time. Mace, who has been vocal about banning transgender women from female facilities within the Capitol, suggested the attack was linked to her stance, writing, "Your trans violence and threats on my life will only make me double down." The Congresswoman introduced a resolution last month aimed at restricting access.
She better put on some muscle in that lower part of her body, because those are going to blow her over.
to single-sex facilities after Delaware Democrat Sarah McBride, the
There's
first
Sarah
openly transgender
McBride.
member of Congress, was elected. This isn't the first time Mace has faced backlash. She and her staff have reportedly received threats since her resolution was announced. In response to the latest incident, Mace stated,
now, of course, we reviewed this and we dug into the reality that this whole endeavor, as far as we're concerned, to confuse what one is, of course, is the white erasure of our norm of being what you are when you are born, and not being able to pretend or imagine that you are something other than that. And then we saw the absolutely piss poor response by Nancy Mace, absolutely within the anti-white narrative, like reading right from the catechisms of anti-white precepts in her defense and revulsion to just more anti-whiteism. Well, of course, you can't win that way, right?
stated, all the violence and threats keep proving our point. Women deserve to be safe. Capitol Police.
What about white people deserve to be safe? Would she ever say that? I'm guessing no.
McIntyre had passed security screenings before entering the building.
Piece of shit.
And was apprehended following an investigative interview. They also revealed that similar protests occurred last week, with more than a dozen transgender activists, including Chelsea Manning, being arrested for demonstrating near a women's restroom in the Capitol complex.
The photo I saw, they were in the women's bathroom. Representative, okay, here's a great. She needs to put some muscle on. Come on, Nance. You need to hit the gym some. This is starting to look not natural. Nancy Mace, Republican of South Carolina, said she was physically accosted at the U.S. Capitol complex Tuesday by a transgender rights activist. Now, we would be called terrorist. So why isn't this person called a terrorist? Well, it's the anti-white narrative. We got the answer for that. I was physically accosted at the Capitol tonight by a pro-trans man, the Congresswoman wrote on X. One new brace for my wrist and some ice for my arm, and it'll heal just fine, Mace added, suggesting she suffered minor injuries as a result of the incident. Actually, this was told to me to be like a fight, like this woman with a penis was like fighting Nancy Mace. And as you can see, she doesn't have very much in the way of muscle. I mean, maybe these are weapons and she could use them. The sad thing is that these are about as real as his were. But we do have here, I mean, I go to great lengths, all right? I go to really great lengths to bring to you all the most in-depth information and coverage that you will ever be able to find. And I was able, with my contacts, I was able to reach out into the Capitol and get video of just prior to this incident. And I'm going to share that with you all right now. Video just prior to the incident. Here we go.
Hello? Are you pooping? Hello? I know you're pooping. It smells good.
If she wasn't, she is now, my friend.
Hello? Are you pooping? Hello? I know you're pooping. It smells good.
Oh, sick. Sick. Yeah, if she wasn't, she is now. That's for sure. And that's what happened. Now, I don't know. That is purportedly not necessarily Nancy Mace. I might have got the wires crossed there. Might not have been just prior to the Nancy Mace incident. Maybe not. But that is said to be like not a skit, if you can believe it. So, of course, we should have women with penises in females' bathrooms and in their locker rooms. Are you pooping? Are you pooping? It smells good. Yeah, that should be. They're totally normal. They're totally normal. That's the white erasure of our world today. They're completely normal. Have you just shown up? We have 2 questions of the day. I'll put them on the screen. Make sure you tag me as No White Guilt if you want me to read yours. Are you a fix-it-yourself person? And if so, what have you wrecked? We could broaden that too. Do you know somebody who's a fix-it-themselves person? And what have they wrecked? And what's your opinion on garden gnomes and pink flamingos? I've got a story for gnomes and flamingos that I could potentially share. As if to make her point for her. Yeah, precisely. Precisely. But they insist they're not insane. Yeah, no, it's totally normal. It's totally normal to, number one, start a conversation while you're sitting on the toilet with a stranger. I can tell you one time I didn't start a conversation with a stranger, but one time I was in a stall and I was sitting, and the guy beside me, the same, and I think he was dying on the toilet. I think that he was. It seriously sounded like the end of the world. In fact, we might have a video for that. Oh my God. Might have a video for that. But it sounded like he was dying. I mean, I've never heard so much moaning. I've never heard so much struggling. It was awful. And eventually, though I was trying my hardest, I busted out laughing uproariously. So be it. What does he expect? If you're going to hit the John in a public bathroom, where you can have a bunch of other people and you're in there going, ah! I mean, people are not going to be able to take it, all right? That's just going to happen. So remember, tag me if you have, I might have, it's too perfect. Let's see if I have the item. Oh my God, I do. All right. Reminiscent of that episode when I was in the bathroom and that poor soul sitting on the John beside me had blown himself open a new asshole. We do have a clip related, but not from that incident. This is get a dog, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Let me see. Can I embiggen? Get a dog, they said. Here you can see let me put my cursor on the screen. Here you can see this dog. And then there's a dog lying on the couch here and another dog over here, it looks like. So here you have a dog and he appears to be a little frantic. Get a dog, they said. It'll be fun, they said. It's like a gun went off. Oh my God. That dog. That was half his intestines and guts that came out. You can now see the slug trail. Lita, could you imagine coming out to this in the morning? It literally sounded like a gun going off. Look at the other 2 dogs are like, Jesus, how's he not dead yet? They're still just waiting. Where is he? Here we go. One more time for fun. He's looking for a place to go to the bathroom. He's running away from his own ass. Oh my God. All right. That's gross. Why would you show videos like that? That's nasty. Don't play videos like that. Are you a fix-it-yourself person? Tag me as No Why Guilt if you are a fix-it-yourself person or you know one and you've ruined things. And what's your opinion of garden gnomes or pink flamingos? Those are the questions of the day. We're going to get into the Cuck-servatives and what their report. This is if you don't know, we have talked about some of the Cuck-servative content creators and watched the videos to mock them. Of course, we have Buddy Brown, and we'll make fun of him again. No, it was not literally from the incident, but that would have been funny. Are you pooping? That woman, she was trying to pick her feet up off the floor. I bet she was half hoping she would just get sucked down through the pipes. Robert said the guy was renting with the dogs. Oh, probably. It's probably a B&B. And the owner's going to come back to that gigantic question mark that leads through the living room to the bedroom on the carpet. I mean, it was a solid stream. What a mess. Wing Productions is with us. All right, so Rapunzel has confirmed that it is indeed a stiffer penalty to fight an elected representative than it is just for the rest of us. Isn't that nice? Dennis is here. He says, what the F? Exactly. Fernald says, the other dogs are really curious. Yeah, they're wondering how he's not dead. That's what it is. They're like, how did Pete not die from that? He blew his whole ass off. Now, I think the remedy to this is to burn the house down. I don't think there's any fixing it. I think that is it. But I want to talk about these Cuck-servative content creators, because we have to bring these people away from the ones who are doers, the ones who want to make a change, and they're just not there to show up and just be entertained and just want to hear the doom document and doom dissecting. We got to lure them away to something that is much more healthy, or healthy at all. What they're involved in is not healthy. Just dangerous for them. Daughter of Eve is with us over here on the live chat on Twitter. Please share on Twitter and X that we are live, and we try to bring some people in here. We need folks to come in and have community and have fun and have laughs. Share your thoughts. She says, Promethean hails, greatest show by our great brother Jason. Big Promethean hails back to you. Good to see you. James asking if I have taken the J pill. What is the J pill? Is that becoming a shadow stalker of Jewish people and doing nothing to end our victimization? Is that what you mean? The J pill? Is that what it is? You just follow around Jewish people and you just always say, Itadu, Itadu, and you do nothing to stop our victimization? Is that what it is? Yeah. Anti-white Jews, just like anti-white people or anybody else, are all the problem. We're at the center of our story here, James. We're not orbiting some other group of people like the Soygoys are. Now, we're putting it into our victimization. Cindy Ben is here. J.C. Denton. The Great Fornol says he likes garden gnomes and pink flamingos, but he has neither. You'll have to get some, my friend. I will tell as we get into this. These are grown men, and there are conservative adults who are showing up. These are fairly new channels. Apparently, all these content creators, after doing this for a short stint, were able to quit their jobs and live off the income from their content creation. Live off the income from their content creation. That is how many people are showing up and paying for Cuck-servative content creation. And these are adult males, and they are absolute children. We're going to have a lot of fun making fun of them. There's a crew of them. It's going to be a new thing, I think, mocking and ridiculing. And I want you all to get involved in some of the mock and ridicule as well. I know we got a lot of witty and funny people in this community, but it's sort of like last decade's beating up on the SJWs that you used to see losers do all the time. But this is going to actually be productive. It's not going to be just ending with, boy, aren't they fat? Although I'm sure some of them are obese, and we'll be talking about that. Tried to rebuild a 1930s bathroom, says the great Fernald. Black mold, oh my God, and water damage on floor joists. Got most of it done, but had to get a professional to fix the floor. No floor in bathroom for 4 months. Wow. Yeah, that's at least a smart thing to do. I see AOC is here. That's at least a smart thing to do. If you're working through something and you come upon a bit you can't do, and it's best just to bring in the pros, the people who do it all the time, to go do that. Don't try to, especially like floor joists. That's a whole nother subject. And mold, you really got to get rid of that stuff. But let's take a look at our friends here. Oh, flamingo story from me I'll pop it up on the screen though. I had some friends when I was in high school. I had some friends that decided on their senior year, they were older than me, that they were going to steal a pink flamingo from the front yard of one of the guy's neighbors' houses. And so I was at a party at a house, and they drinking and hanging out. They were. I wasn't, at least that time. And at least I don't recall that I was. But they said, hey, yeah, we stole this pink flamingo from this guy's yard. And I was like, why? Why would you do that? It's just somebody paid for it. I was having like the total like Western civilization, very white response there. And they were like, oh, shut up. Come look at it. So they went out to their car and they opened the trunk, and there's this pink flamingo. And I was like, yep, it's a pink flamingo from somebody's yard. And they told me their plan. And then they carried out their plan, which was this. Over the course of their entire senior year, they would take photographs of the pink flamingo at parties, house parties, swimming pool parties, when they would go to the beach, and they would photograph the flamingo with like beers around it, and like it was living the time of its life. It was enjoying life. And they would write on the pictures that they would mail to the owners as though they were the flamingo, that he was just out like finding himself, wanted to see the world. They took him to a couple of beaches on the East Coast. I think they took him to a tractor pull. It was a bunch of just weird stuff. Everywhere they went, the pink flamingo was in the back. So they would pop him out, whatever it was, get a photograph. Of course, they weren't in the photo with the flamingo. Although I think they did have where their backs were turned and you couldn't make out who it was. And they would just send these off. Imagine this guy and this woman at this house, and their yard ornament turns up missing one day. And then they start receiving photographs of it out about across the East Coast of the United States, partying and hanging out and at different types of parties, saying it's finding itself and it's having a grand time and whatever beach it was. And then legit, when they graduated, in the middle of the night, they went back and they put the pink flamingo back in the guy's front yard. So for an entire year, this guy and I guess his wife received photographs of it and the letters, and then came out one morning and there he was. He was home again. He had come back home. Samuzi says, that's awesome. I know. I wish I had done something like that. It was really cool, those guys. But they were They were partiers. They were going out all the time. So if they just kept it and remembered to always, and I guess it became habit, then it was something that really didn't take, and they would have a little snicker over it. But so no big deal. But that had to be funny for that guy. All right, let's see right here. This is really something. Okay, so it's I think it's 4 hosts, and they're talking about an incident that happened at Disney. And this is the thing these cuck-servative content creators do. They talk about Disney literally several times a day. So these are some of these, what do they call them? Like Disney adults. No joke. And of course, Disney, so this is kind of bringing you up to speed. Disney, like everywhere else, is more white erased by the day. It's more anti-white by the day. And how do you think the cuck-servatives are going to address this? How do you think they're going to talk about it? Well, of course, it's going to be the wokies, and it's going to be all of this. And they're never going to be talking about the discrimination against white people, even though it's completely white. It's going to be abstractions about how do they refer to race swapping? Nobody's race swapped but us. But these absolute vegetables, these Disney adult vegetables, coward cucks, they can't say that. So let's listen to the kind of stuff that's making the money, the kind of takes that's getting the audiences. They're growing. They're on the rise.
Wonderful Imagineers of Disney have done it again. The Walt Disney World Resort.
Got to stop. When you start off with heavy sarcasm, you know you're dealing with losers, okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it's true. AOC says, it smells good. That's truly and utterly hilarious. As wrong as that clip is, that is funny. You know that woman was, like I said, if she wasn't pooping, she was at that point.
In the last 48 hours has suffered a catastrophe that had people running, fleeing, not for their lives, but to fly away from a stench that was indescribable.
Indescribable.
Number 2, poop, doo-doo, flowing through the streets of Magic Kingdom. And Disney cast members
flowing,
begging, please.
There seems to be an unintended theme here. Thanks to Nancy Mace. That's where it all got started.
Please don't film that.
Okay. So the main guy is called Pro. And I want you also to really appreciate that these guys, I think it's 3 of them. I think only one is on camera. They think that their takes are so cutting and edgy that they have to conceal their identity. They literally, with these takes, think they have to conceal their identity.
Well. Disney has dug a deep well, and it's filled with things you don't want to see, and it's pouring out.
Oh, my God. Already lame, like the voiceover.
Pouring out, not from the utilidors, but from sewage pipelines. Folks, it's a hilarious story, and we're going to cover it.
Well, just tell us when you get to the funny part, because so far it's wretched.
And we're going to tell you what happened. And
why are white people such giant white boobies? Why is it that you have like these guys? They couldn't be more gooberish. What is this race? Are we sure that we're the same?
We do. We ask that you click that like button, and just remember that seriously, there are outlets out there that are refusing to cover what was uncovered at Magic Kingdom.
No.
The poo that was flowing through the
You already said that. He's a bit redundant, but that's, he's a vegetable. What do you expect?
Streets of the most happy but not sanitary place on earth, refusing to cover it because they're terrified that Disney will get mad at them if they just report that people were dodging logs like the opposite version of Frogger, as
Oh, this is the law. Yeah. He's gonna come back to logs. Yeah, exactly, Fernand. How hard would it be to write a funny monologue for this? No, it wouldn't be hard for somebody who's not a vegetable.
they tried to traverse through Frontierland. It's a once a year kind of story, maybe more. At least we hope.
Well, wait. How often has feces geysered out of Disney World? What do you mean once a year? Red says monologue.
For the sake of our shoes, socks, and maybe even the bottom of some trousers.
Oh.
Click the like button. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm not confused that
Okay, here we go. This guy right here, he's the one in charge. He's the vegetable in charge. He's the head vegetable. And then for some reason, this old guy over here wants us to see him and his bed.
it was a crappy day at Disney.
Oh, it was a crappy day. The goober peas are out in force.
On Monday.
Oh, no.
You know where we're going, Jonas?
I think we're about to go on an adventure.
You know, Pro, one of my favorite elements of Liberty Square is
What? What is this guy's voice? That Park Place? Marvin.
the brown line that runs down the center of it, which is
What I like most about Disney is the brown line. Stereotype on aisle number 4.
supposed to, showcase, back in colonial times,
Ooh.
that the streets were basically a gutter for
Oh,
sewage.
The
And-
streets were gutter. The streets were gutter for sewage. It was just part of the experience.
Now they've just gone one step ahead.
They took it very seriously. Folks, we could not let this one go.
Get ready for a fully immersive Disneyland experience.
That's right.
Actually Disney World.
Straight out.
Immersive is
Valve
such the
door.
wrong
You
word.
focus on these. How did you screw up the two, Disney World and Disneyland? This is what you do. You make a living they make a living doing this.
For this.
All right,
It
folks.
is a multi-sensory experience, guys.
It's in Ford.
It's a multi-sensory experience. When you go to the park, you get to experience what they experienced in the Old West.
D.
Nothing quite as fun. You won't even find this much joy in a bowl full of monkeys. Here we go.
Lame. That pro guy is so lame. By the way, he's like morbidly obese, I'm sure. He's probably one sausage away from severe coronary explosion.
Breaking. Disney suddenly closes Frontierland and Magic Kingdom. I want us all to pay very close attention to the way All Ears attempts to relay this. You all, listen, if you go.
This pro guy talking right now has a tramp stamp of a naked Mickey right above his ass. Guaranteed.
Go to the sites, and I'm not claiming that All Ears is this. We love All Ears. All Noses
It's got a place to grab on.
is probably more appropriate for this coverage, but All Ears will work. You will notice that some of the vlogs and blogs that are on the media list reported this in one way. And then you're going to notice a different way in just a moment. So let's take a look. Breaking. Disney suddenly closes Frontierland Magic Kingdom. But why? You never know what might happen while you're at Disney World, says Jasmine.
I just feel the deep need to finance their employment. That's just, it has to happen. This is the cutting edge of the resistance to anti-whiteism. Why would you ever wonder why things are this bad? When you have these doughy, soft, little boy vegetables that are on the front line. You got Jonas, he showed up at a payphone outside of Amishville. And you got the other guy, Stereotype. What is it, Brooklyn in New York? Oh, it's like a Old West experience.
Köhne. It says temporary closures can occur at any time. Rides and experiences may have technical difficulties that cause them to close down for a brief period. When this happens, cast members work hard to get the ride back open for operation. However, it currently appears that an entire land is now temporarily closed in Magic Kingdom, and cast members are working to resolve the issue.
Issue, you mutt. It's pronounced issue. I'm going to get mad. Issue. Giving me another reason to hate him now.
Frontierland in Magic Kingdom is currently closed up to the bridge near Pecos Bill, Tall Tale Inn and Cafe. And cast members have told us that...
Can you believe it? We can't go to Disney World. Full of feces. I learned about it on Pro. Honey, cut a check for him. We're not going to be able to deal with the wokiness. Mind you now, why are things like this happening all the time in places like Disney World? The white erasure of our norms for standards, for excellence, the white erasure of white people, white males in particular. And they're just hiring people on the basis of their sex or what they believe their sex to be, and certainly their race. And you get people that can't do things like plumbing. That's how it happens. Now, are they going to say that it's for the white, because of the white erasure of white people and our norms and standards and etc.? Of course not. I mean, these happy vegetables would have immediate coronaries at the thought of it because they're such frightened little children.
Has to do with technical difficulties and the road going through the land.
No, it was Slots. No, it's issue. And he said issue because some people think pronunciations that are in the totality novel and is kind of absurd, and it's a construction that you have to make an effort to do. They think it makes them sound more intelligent. So issue becomes issue. It's like juror instead of juror. The juror. Okay.
Really? Really all ears.
Misty is, yeah, really. Misty's here. Good to see you. You're just in time. You're just in time for the cutting edge takes of the Disney dudes. The Disney dingleberries here.
They had
4 of them hanging right off the ass of Mickey. This pro guy has like an avatar of a guy that's in like in normal shape. I guarantee you that's not the case. This is Jabba behind the microphone.
Technical difficulties with
Not only
the
that,
road.
He's also, oh geez, what's her name now? Claudine Gay. He is Claudine Gay as they come. I can tell.
Just let it sink in. They had technical difficulties with the road. I don't think.
Make a big deal out of that. Nothing. Disney said they had technical difficulties. With the technical difficulty are the morons working on the pipes.
I think roads have technical difficulties.
I know where it happened. It happened in Taco Bellville at Disney. Every time at Taco Bellville at Disney, you have this feces running down the street issue.
It was technically difficult to get down that road.
Oh, was it technically difficult to get down that road? I live in a cardboard box outside of the park, so I'm there every single day.
Here's what really happened from Cow Kid 1. And by the way,
think of the millions of booby white people that are like eating this up. And how appropriate for it to be the fecal slop.
It could not come from a better source for the topic we're covering than at Cow Kid 1. Just soak it in. Not that. Don't soak that in. Brad Cannell is our story giver here.
He said
cast members are asking guests to not take photos or video of the sewage leak that has closed Frontierland. They have canceled the parade, caused congestion, and are not offering any compensation for all the troubles. That's right, folks. It was a ginormous sewage leak.
Oh, God. Just say gigantic or enormous. Gigantic or enormous. I have rarer word. I have rarer word that few people say. What is that? What the f is that? Can you see that? I got to. What in the world? Can you zoom in, get a screenshot, and see this thing on the right side of the image? That thing escaped from under Disney somewhere. They're breeding them. That's the story right here. Good God.
And I have more on
I'm going to resist making the sundial joke.
this. Everybody pay attention to where this is. If you've ever been to Magic Kingdom,
Okay.
pay very close attention to where the sewage leak is happening.
Taco Bellville, right down there. I can see it. Look at these two females. What in the living is wrong with America? How do these females find lower halves that don't match the upper half? Are you seeing this? It looks like they cut the ass end off of some hippos and sewed it on to the tops of human beings.
Everybody, if you take a look to your right, Jonas is figuring this out.
Oh.
If you take a look to the right, it's
Jonas, his corncob hat was a little tight. He took it off, and so he's beginning to. It wasn't him beginning to figure it out. It was the relief of getting the corncob hat off.
Because Bills, you look down there to where it stops. What's in the middle of all this?
Taco Bell.
Oh my!
Oh my.
And by the way, there is the foamy aroma image itself.
Guys,
Oh,
guys,
that's so
it's just
I just want Marvin to talk all the time. Can we please hear more of Marvin?
it's just their new attraction, the Andy Dufresne Escape Experience.
Oh, it's the new attraction.
You know what's sad about this is
You
that
made it. Is the old guy with the full beard? Does he have a voice like a 13-year-old girl?
Frontierland used to be so popular.
Oh my God, he just said Frontierland used to be so popular. Oh, he's so funny. Right now, the other three on mute, they're like, oh, he said popular. Did you hear? I mean, this is literally like fifth graders. This is what's defending us against the anti-whites. Ruthless predators.
Popular. We're gonna be popular.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right. We'll teach you to defecate and not to hate. All right, Jonas.
What?
Yes, sir.
What is it that the our new class of tremendous Imagineers, those one
Jonas, how's that anthrax problem going out on the farm there? They still falling apart like the apocalypse?
wonderful merit-based hires. What is it they're working on?
Oh, there you have it. More sarcasm. Oh my God. These fat, pudgy, soft C's with the it's so merit-based. These are the kind of guys that would be absolutely happy with every white person being white erased. As long as it was merit-based, as long as it's based on merit.
Magic Kingdom.
That would be the destruction of.
Sloth says, singing like 5-year-olds. Exactly. Oh, cool. Papa J Magic is with us, but he's got the stomach flu. That's the worst, my friend. Oh, boy. That is terrible. Sloth says they tuck their belly under their belt.
Rivers of America.
The girls, yeah. Maybe that's what they did. They had somebody get like a hula hoop made out of titanium, and they grabbed on probably a bunch of little people, and they grabbed on it, just and they kept pulling it down to squish all the meat down into the lower half. And then they get that belt really tight. Then they got a key. They open up the hula hoop and they can go out into public.
America.
Not only that, Jonas, but Marvin might know a little bit about lounging around in that sewage.
Oh,
Yes, we are currently getting rid of the Frontier
Wait, Marvin lounges around in the sewage?
Land Shooting Arcade to make it a place where
We're
you
getting rid of the arcade? We're getting rid of the arcade? They're even taking ownership for what the anti-whites are doing at Disney. Again, these are 4 people who make a living off of doing this.
pay a lot of extra money to come and get some graham crackers.
You said shooting
Some
arcade,
graham
right?
crackers.
Yeah, shooting.
Yeah, they've been shooting some
Soft
stuff. Been shooting some number 2s, I believe.
Oh my God. He said number 2. Oh my God. He said no. That's so funny.
Guys, what I'm hearing is that our wonderful, amazing
Oh,
Imagineers
shut the fuck up. Our wonderful, amazing Imagineers. The sarcasm is deep within you, bro. So is coronary heart disease.
who they always get things right and nothing never breaks. That
Oh my God.
they may have accidentally broken right into the lines while they're destroying this shooting arcade and sprayed sewage everywhere. Now, I cannot confirm that, folks, but those geniuses who managed to screw up the Epcot lights, those wonderful, amazing college
Oh
graduates.
my God. The sarcasm. And now, just if you all are, you're thinking these guys are just really epic. They step it up in more recent videos. This is recent, but even more recent, with a black woman. And they kiss her ass endlessly about how amazing she is. And white people are paying for this.
Graduates who created a Tiana's Bayou adventure where the logs don't work. They've now given us a
Oh God. He's setting himself up, isn't he?
frontier land where the logs do work.
It's funny. The logs work.
Well, and right down the middle of the road. Lauren, are you excited to go to Frontierland and play a
One of the guys' names is Lauren.
game of Frogger jumping from log to get to the end?
Ooh.
No, that wouldn't be
Oh,
how.
what a witty response that was. No. I don't know if I can handle the wit much longer.
On my vacation list. Although
No.
I do think, imagine the story that whoever did this is going to be able to tell someday.
Right,
Imagine the story they're going to be, whoever busted the sewage pipe. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be hilarious for them.
I sprayed Walt Disney World with poo.
That's going to be something that's like a low light of their career, but it will be a funny story down the line.
No bother. Who called for me?
What the hell was that? What even was he trying to do? A female voice there from Gone with the Wind or something? What was that? Was he Scarlett O'Hara? Was that what he was trying to do?
Marvin, how much does it cost to get into Disney World these days?
It costs two pieces of cardboard and 6 shackles.
Up to over $200 for a day.
Sometimes I sneak and I crawl under the fence where all of the fishes are, and there's leeches, and I crawl through there and I come out and then I smell lovely after that. So I get in for free because I live in a cardboard box. He says that like 4 times a show. Outside of the park.
At the Magic Kingdom on certain days.
$200 to get into Magic Kingdom, and you too can smell like poo if you go.
Oh, boy.
And by the way,
and like there's a part of me that is like I want to make fun of, I want to ridicule, I want to make fun of these people, and then part of me is like, this is literally what shit tons of white vagues out there will tune into, will finance. This has been this way forever. This is what they're tuning into. The more gelded, the more effete. Look it up, effete. The more gelded, the more effete, the more apathetic, the more banal, the more lame. They're like, oh, Gibby, I just can't even. Andy, come in here and watch Hilaire. You wouldn't believe what Pro just said. He said they were hopping on logs.
Way, this is not the first time the Imagineers have done this. Epcot, still to this day, smells like sewage all through the middle of the park.
Look, at the end of the day, like, it's just the immersive experience, guys. What do you think it smelled like in colonial times and out on the frontier?
He's going back. Marvin, the movie's monster, is going back to his earlier joke. That's all he had, folks. He's here all week. Hey, but he's got one joke.
Let's hope nobody's immersed in this experience.
Given that this happened,
shut up, Jonas. Just tend to the sheep, okay?
Next to Pecos Bills, I'm going to say there are smells that our forefathers never thought possible.
Whose forefathers? Because it's not Marvin's forefather.
But let's remember, folks, over on All Ears, breaking, Disney suddenly closes Frontierland and Magic Kingdom. It was a mystery. No one could figure out what was happening. And then you go to this. You go to X. You go to Twitter.
And by the way, they make multiple videos a day, like this. That's making them money.
Cast members are asking people not to take pictures of the poop that's flowing all through Frontierland.
What is that lame-ass voice? I'm asking you to not take, or I'm so funny. You know, right now he's sitting in that chair totally naked and sweating his ass off.
Please, no pictures or videos. Ladies and gentlemen, the Magic Kingdom is currently suffering from technical difficulties with crap flowing across our roads.
Couldn't they have thought about this before they got started?
We ask that you please maintain your current position and avoid logs at this time.
Oh boy.
Thank you. That's what I think the announcement was like. Please stand clear of the poo.
Por favor.
He can't. Oh, the Amish guy knows how to say por favor. Jonas, take the horse blinders off yourself. Why are you doing that again? Get off that damn payphone.
Por favor, manténganse alejado de la caca.
Oh, he said caca. Oh, that really got them all. That really got that tickled their fatty bone, didn't it?
Oh, that's a great one.
Oh my gosh. He just did that long laughing sigh like women do. Oh.
Why is this always a problem? The other one was centered in Adventureland the last time that this happened. But this, you're right. The placement of this appears.
Bobby says he was trying to impersonate Mickey Mouse. That's what he does when he makes love. The entire time he's doing Mickey Mouse. That's why he's got that tramp stamp of Mickey right atop, right on his tailbone.
To be right at the.
He's like, give it to me, Mickey. Give it to me, Mickey. Uh-huh. Isn't that from that song where they make fun of white guys who are pretending to be black?
Shooting gallery.
He's pretty fly for a mouse guy.
Somebody's poisoned the brown watering hole.
And what it's like the worst place possible to have a sewage leak.
So, wait, why would it have to be poisoned to stay away from feces? I mean, like on a good day, it's not poisoned and you're able to go around it. Somebody's poisoned it this time. Hey, folks, stay away from that shit volcano over there. This time it's poisoned.
Because it's right by Pecos Bills, the bathroom that everyone runs to after having enchiladas.
Oh, after enchiladas by Pecos Bills.
I broke Lorne.
I'm done.
Oh, they're all tore up about it. It's almost over. Marvin really tore him up with that one. He lives on the bench by Pecos Bills.
Well, it was a
Disney.
great day in the Magic Kingdom.
What are you doing?
We got to say, for the old guy, at least he's brave enough to actually show himself. Everybody else, it's not them because their insights, their takes are too edgy.
Always the nastiest bathroom in the Magic Kingdom, though.
I lived in that bathroom. It was the nastiest. Have you lived in it? I lived in it.
I swear to you.
I
Do
swear.
you know, like from that bathroom, like across the way at Adventureland, there's like
I swear, when I try to roll out my sleeping bag, it's nasty.
that like stone bench you could sit on by Swiss Family Treehouse. I sat
That's the stone bench he lives on sometimes.
there one time and I smelled poop.
Well, you would have smelled it today.
Oh boy. They're going to have a new ride. It's a smell world. Says Fornall. It's a smell world after all. I wish I knew that song. It's a smell world after all. It's a smell world after all. But don't go on the Holocauster. It's a deadly coaster. Don't go on the Holocauster. I tried to tell my friends. You holler the whole time you're on that coaster. It's a Holocaster, they say. You don't want to ride it. You just holler.
I'm sorry, poop's funny.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Marvin finds scatological humor to be really funny. He's into the scatology.
I'm just visualizing the stream of thousands of people's defecation flowing across the rivers of America. And I'm thinking about poor Disney workers.
He likes imagining that, doesn't he? I'm just thinking about all of the poop in his Disney voice.
Now they're going to try to drain and concrete that in, and it's filled with literal crap.
Imagine like
Look, he's like sucking wind from telling those couple of jokes he just said and laughing.
imagine it happened during
He's
one
like,
of those country bears are out there doing like a little hoedown on the street and trying to get a tidal wave just comes washing over at them.
You could ride one of the logs from T.
Oh, Jonas, shut up. They've already done the log thing, Jonas, to death. To death. Put the corncob cap back on. Go home.
Bayou Adventure.
Oh, gosh, that was good. Well, folks, we've come to the end of another video of pure excellence and fun.
All right, I guess that's
Explaining
it.
entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. That's what we hope
Keeping you ahead of the culture curve.
you believe we've just done. And why should you believe it? Well, because we've done our very best to make it so. To be
Ooh.
true, to be factual, and to do what the mainstream so-called access journalists simply won't.
Okay, so they're the cutting edge. They're doing what the so-called mainstream won't do. Remember now, all the Ambies and Andes, they're funding these people to be able to do this for a living. Multiple people.
Folks, you can help share this out across the fruited plains of YouTube by clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell.
All right, since he said that, I already gave him a dislike.
Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as
You suck.
we get ready to say sayonara for now, we ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep having fun.
Keep having fun. They suck. We need music.
In the light we dance as one, hearts embrace, the night's begun. Dreams unfold in silent waves, going free, no fear enslaves. Gentle whispers, soft and true. In this space we all renew. Rise above a pristine flow, shining bright, our bio spirits glow.
to be talking about Daniel Penny, and we're going to be talking about Luigi. You excited about Daniel Penny exonerated from the lesser of the two charges after the prosecution shot and blew their load? Big mistakes. Hubris led them to big errors. That was a great slaughter, ladies and gentlemen. Big salutes. And at the very beginning, we played another one of the Christmas tunes from Anglo-Saxon NWG. Epic it was, epic. Slot says, that was good before Jonas talked. Yeah, we like the music. It was really good. Don't forget, we have questions of the day if you want to participate. Are you a fix-it-yourself person? What have you wrecked? Question number 2, what's your opinion on garden gnomes and pink flamingos? Let's pull up our... Is that it? No. Here we go. Daniel Penny facing new legal hurdle in chokehold death. The civil lawsuit brought by Jordan Neely's absentee father. Daniel Penny was found not guilty in the criminal case, but he now faces a civil suit from Jordan Neely's father, who was absent most of his son's life. Well, why would that stop him from getting involved now and getting some dollars out of it? The prosecution, the anti-white prosecutor, she thought that it was going to be an easy slam dunk. And she wrote up the charges in a way that did not allow the jury to just consider the second lesser charge as a standalone. And as a consequence, when the jury couldn't make a decision on the more severe charge, it was kind of like a domino. And the defense, of course, was arguing that they need to find him not guilty on the primary charge, which would have made it kind of impossible for the prosecution to move forward. And obviously, we heard the Black Lives Matter people were complaining about a boomer and a young person on the jury, probably inspired by the massive Trump win to stand their ground. And that, of course, is what ended up happening. Exonerated for both counts, manslaughter, and what was the other one called? Criminally negligent homicide. But is he free? Is he home free? No. Recall one Bernard Goetz, 1984. In 1984, the subway in New York was, and remember what we teach here, and this is very important because people have this two-dimensional midwit notion about how society changes, how we are being white erased, and how it takes place. The midwit notion is that it's like a rheostat, and the light, you turn in one direction, then the light slowly gets brighter, and you turn it the other direction, the light slowly gets darker. And so any movement that they believe they see that's oppositional to what an anti-white or a group of anti-whites want in this given moment, they think is a turning back. We're going back. All is good now. All I got to do is turn on my Disney dingleberries and giggle with them childishly about nonsense. But of course, that's not the case. 1984, the subway in New York was totally white erased. But Jason, 1984? Yes. It was wholesale anti-whiteism. People were not allowed to protect themselves. Police were not allowed to police the subway. And as a consequence, there were roving gangs, anti-white, non-whites, robbing non-white and white people, beating them, raping them. 1984. So how does it actually happen? How does the change actually happen? It's in these lurches and stalls and lurch and stall. It's like, and it's not just one place either. It's like watching rain come down a windshield or the window on the side of your house. And you see where enough water collects, and then suddenly a streak will run forward toward the bottom of the window. Sometimes it makes it. Most of the time, it doesn't. It stops somewhere short of the bottom. That is how societal norms shift. We are watching the white erasure, and there are these lurches that jump ahead. And right now, for example, the Democrat Party is wringing hands and pointing fingers about it like being over, and they're going to have to start over. And the Republicans, of course, are celebrating this as the end of wokenesism, or whatever these tards will call it. Tardises will call it. But of course, Daniel Penny's exoneration is just a tiny bit of stasis or static movement, even though they seem contradictory, because it's all, to make the metaphor more appropriate, the window is moving down as well. The window is slowly moving and the water is running down the changes. So your context is moving. 1984, Bernard Goetz decides he's had enough of the terror, of the beatings, of the pistol whippings, the robberies. And he decides he's going to bring a firearm on the subway with him. And sure enough, a group of 4 anti-white black guys decide they're going to rob people on the train and beat them and etc. Now, really compare that with Jordan Neely now. And you'll begin to get a clearer picture of the dynamical nature of societal transformation. You really begin to get it, because when you can look backward in time and see far worse in the subway car than you saw with Jordan Neely, you're able to then predict that worse even in 84 is coming. Another buildup, another lurch forward of the white erasure. You can kind of, I guess, maybe think of the anomalies on, to go back to the metaphor of the glass, that even though you can't see them, are holding the water back. That's what's left of the white moires as they are wiped away. And the context, the glass itself, is slowly drawing down as well. So Bernard Goetz pulls out the gun and shoots all 4 of them. and right there on the subway, puts the gun away and leaves. The blacks, the whites, the Asians, the Jews, everybody in New York were celebrating him. They were he put it in, he wasn't taking it anymore. He put an end to this terrorizing on the train. That's what should happen to all the thugs. I remember all the way back then how excited people were in their interviews. None of the black people were saying, well, he's a white guy. He shouldn't have done it. He should have just let them. No, they weren't saying that. Not at first. They were being terrorized, the people on the train. Well, there was a manhunt. And Bernard decided, especially since all of these drawings were coming out of him and it was very clearly him, that he should go turn himself in. I mean, why not? All of these different races, even blacks, were celebrating him for doing this in the subway. So he went and turned himself in. Bad move. They charged him with murder. And they charged him with the possession of a firearm, because he indeed was possessing a firearm. And everything changed. Everything went anti-white. Bernard went from being a hero to this evil white vigilante. What are the Black Lives Matter saying now about Penny? Literally calling him an evil white vigilante. And they are calling for, in particular, Hawk Newsom of Black Lives Matter New York, calling for black people to do vigilantism of their own on white people. Nothing's happened, by the way, to him. And you can check that out to make sure if I'm right or wrong in my memory of an hour ago before we got started and several days ago when he first made these comments. So he was charged with murder, or attempted murder, rather, because I don't think any of them died. Attempted murder and possession of a firearm. You had Penny manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. Well, the jury found Getz not guilty of intentionally attempting to murder them. How do you like that? Well, I guess everything was turning back. Everything was getting better then, back in 1984. Would you bet me money that the Cuck-servative content creators in 1984 were saying that everything is getting better? Look, the jury, the justice system worked. Getz was obviously not trying to murder them, and they found, so the cultural milieu is shifting back to the direction of normalcy, which of course is the white norms, in 1984. Look at where we are today. So now you can see the Disney Dingleberries and what they're talking about, and so many other Cuck-servatives talking about this big shift back. Everything has changed. Wokenism is defeated. Look at what just happened with Neely. 2024, is it worse than 1984? Is it more anti-white for white people today than it was in 84? So you can very easily then look forward and see, well, if it's gotten worse since 84, it'll keep getting worse if this is the defense, if this is our resistance. So Getz ended up serving, I think it was 8 months in prison. They hammered him for having the firearm. Absolutely hammered him. 8 months in prison. But that was nothing compared to what was coming. Because one of the Utes, what was his name? Darrell Cabby, got paralyzed from the waist down in the incident where he was going to beat Getz. Again, Getz had been beaten on the subway. He's going to beat him and rob him. And so he gets shot and he gets paralyzed. So Darrell's family sues. Civil suit, where the bar is much lower to determine the outcome. And they successfully sued Getz for $86 million. $86 million. And all the cuck content creators bet, oh, no big deal because that's awful, it's wrong and everything. But he'll be able to escape this by declaring bankruptcy. Wrong again. Declares bankruptcy because how is he going to pay $86 million? And the judge, as is, I think, always the case, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, says everything is dischargeable except for a civil suit. So, for the rest of his life, Getz had to pay on his debt of $86 million. Penny is now facing civil suit. Andre Zachary filed his wrongful death claim against Penny just days before a Manhattan jury acquitted the Marine vet of negligent homicide charges in the highly charged encounter last year. And the suit carries a new set of challenges, legal experts told the Post. He has the elephant in the room to address. First, as a personal, and second, as a legal matter. What was he thinking to apply so much force that the man died? Said attorney Lanny Davis, a former advisor to ex-President Bill Clinton and George Bush. He has not explained because, as a criminal defendant, he didn't take the stand to explain why he exerted such force that the man died. The burden of proof from criminal cases to civil cases changes the playing field. From reasonable doubt to more likely than not. It's very important that he get his version of the truth out. And this is Neely's absentee father with this really curious, super long fingernail. What the hell is so disgusting? Filed December 4 during Penny's criminal trial, Zachary's complaint seeks an unspecified amount in damages, accusing the subway vigilante of fatally assaulting Neely. So, regrettably, Penny is not out of the woods and still needs our prayers to not have, his life, even if we were to say best case scenario, the suit somehow fails, the civil suit somehow fails. He is known across this entire country, and anti-white groups are gunning for him, as well as all white people. This is what we really have to take away what's written between the lines. That in anti-whiteism, in the anti-white narrative, why we can't stay here if we're ever going to recapture our destiny, one of the many reasons is that any time that any white person is objectionable to any anti-white, which of course is whenever they say in the anti-white narrative, ergo why we have to be out of it, they believe themselves legitimate to victimize white people. I just 2 Sundays ago was reading right out of the Go Free Dialogic about that very fact. So white people have already been victimized because Penny was acquitted. White people are being victimized, and more white people will be victimized. There will be anti-white individuals of all races who will rape and believe it legitimized as a consequence of Penny going free. If the Cuck-conservative content creators, the Cuck-servatives, were really addressing what's going on in the world, they would be talking about this. You are not going to remedy this. All of these silent voices, some of them being silenced forever, of white people who maybe even are anti-white, but they are identified by anti-whites of any race and victimized on the basis of being white. Nothing is said. Nothing being said on Fox, nothing being said by the Disney Dingleberries or any of the others, Buddy Brown, because they're not going to talk about our victimization. In fact, you have people like, what's the guy's name? Lindsay, saying woke right. They are just the same thing. James Lindsay, they're just the same thing as the left, talking about race, literally wanting to take our eyes off of what's really happening, and therefore the only way to cure this madness, and thereby perpetuating anti-whiteism and a fulcrum for the victimization, the rapes, the mass rapes, the butchery, the maiming of white people in this country and elsewhere. And the biggest problem of all are the white people who will tune into this. So there's been no turning back of anti-whiteism with Neely's acquittal. This is much bigger. I mean, Penny's acquittal. This is much bigger than Penny. Much bigger. And this talking about whether he's a hero and all this kind of, this is all to obfuscate the real victimization of Western kind. No white people are going to be able to stand up and put down aggression on a subway train and believe that they're going to be able to walk away from it. Dragged through the courts, dragged through the prosecutorial system, facing oblivion in prison. No one's going to want to get involved in that. Societal level. And if you have the eyes to see it, you know how to act on it. But prayers still with Penny that he doesn't end up like Getz, a pauper who is looking over his shoulder for the rest of his life, because Cuck-servatives are declaring this a big victory rather than addressing the real problem of anti-whiteism. Promethean hails, says the great Cornelius Noland over on the live chat on Twitter. Thank you, good brother. But I think more of you might be interested in what's going on with this Luigi. I got to tell you, I can't believe I named our little Luigi days before this Luigi came out. I mean, our little Luigi is pissed off. I still had him up on the platform. I couldn't help it. New York gunman had manifesto railing against health insurance. We got some funny memes to look at if y'all want to stick around for that. Coming up here fairly soon. We're going to be taking a look at this New York gunman and the madness, telling us a lot about the West today, just like Penny is, another incident. The response to this, the anti-whites are coming out in droves to love this guy. Kill all the CEOs, they're saying. Nothing happening to them. They're saying kill all the CEOs, not losing their accounts. They're starting videos, making videos where they're talking about how hot they think this guy is, and they want to have sex with him. A lot of guys who are attracted to guys saying that about this. And he struck me immediately, Luigi, Mangione, Mangina. He struck me immediately as a guy who likes guys. And maybe increasingly that's coming out. His book list is out there. And he definitely looks like the kind of guy that likes guys. It was discovered that after he committed the murder, he frantically listened to Taylor Swift and Britney Spears. That's what he was jamming out to after committing the murder. And to the question earlier in the roll-in, since he has been in the hands of the authorities, he pissed himself. Maybe you all heard that when he was approached by the rookie police officer and asked if he had been in New York recently, he started shaking. And big hero. What really happened with this guy? Well, man charged with brazenly gunning down top health insurance CEO in New York carried a handwritten manifesto that sucked. Let me just take a step back. The Mangione family, Towson, Maryland. You know, I lived kind of close to there one time. Towson, Maryland, they made tons of money off of senior citizen living facilities, I believe. Interestingly enough, Luigi's grandfather was a very good friend of Nancy Pelosi's father. And so Luigi comes from a filthy rich family. And doesn't this begin to like fit the model of so many of the anti-white, psychotic, whitish, in this case, activists, murderers, anarchists, destroyers of Western civilization? Here is another child of wealth, coddled from babyhood, sent to a prestigious all-boys, which I'm sure he really enjoyed, all-boys high school, where he was valedictorian, which means that he has a good memory. Everybody's out there saying, oh, he's a genius. His behavior was not the behavior of a genius. But he had a good memory, went on to UPenn, got a degree, 2 degrees from UPenn, and became a coder, worked in computer science, moved around a bunch, ended up living in Hawaii in like a commune of men, a commune of guys. And they just had, what was the guy's name? RJ something. It'll come back to me. Luigi's roommate in the commune. And RJ strikes you also as a liker of guys. And he shared on Fox that he introduced Ted Kaczynski to Luigi not long ago. So Luigi's out there in Hawaii. He's surfing. He's having fun. Gets into an accident with the surfboard. Needs a surgery on his back. Gets pins in his back. And you can see he can move around. You saw him get manhandled by a female sheriff as he was being taken into the courthouse. And I guess it's somewhere around Altoona, PA. And manhandled as he's screaming out, "You are insulting the American people's intelligence." This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He didn't like the outcome of his surgery. There was some maybe notion that he can't claim that he can't quite have sex as much or as often as he would like. He's very angry about that. And then it would seem at least, he gave no time to becoming some kind of a revolutionary. He was just in this book club with his buddies in the commune, whatever you want to call it, in Hawaii, and got introduced to Ted Kaczynski. And the next thing you know, he disappears. And he's gone off the map. His mother even files a missing persons report. Then he shows up in New York City and shoots Brian Thompson, CEO of United Health, in the back. Very brave, by the way. Shoot him in the back several times with a firearm that they're saying either the whole thing was 3D printed or at least the suppressor for it was 3D printed. We had a speculation here that it was a well rod from the UK. There was some more speculation about it being a specific type of weapon used on farms. But this guy, the genius, decides after he leaves that he's going to keep the murder weapon on him, that he's going to keep the IDs that he used at the hostel in New York and elsewhere while he was in the process of committing this murder. Dumb, obviously dumb. So dumb that some of the girls coming to his defense of both sexes said, oh, well, he obviously wanted to get caught. If he wanted to get caught, he would have gone to the police station and said, here I am. I did it. Here's my manifesto of 200 some odd words. What a joke. This guy is a total abject loser. He is a total loser from start to finish. And this is not a comment on you. You all know that I'm totally 100% opposed to these mortal gods made out of mountains of money. The system is obviously garbage, where you can have people that live as mortal gods and then other hardworking. And I'm talking about like the deserving, hardworking, poor, middle class, lower middle class, whatever you want to call them in the world. And there's nothing they can do to get by. They have to buy junk food because it's the cheapest. They have to, everything has to, because that's all they can afford. They spend their days working their asses off. So the system is obviously shit. But this guy doesn't even know. He even says in his manifesto that he has can't really speak on the topic. So what ended up actually happening? Is it just, it's possible, is it just that this was just some baby and coddled rich kid, kind of like Richard Spencer, with a trust fund and has an accident and they perform surgery on him, but he doesn't like how it ended up. And he's imagining that he could have better surgeries. And if the health insurance system would just give everything away free, he could have better surgeries. And then he would be able to, whatever it is that he does, as often as he would like, instead of irregularly. So he takes to drugs. He was researching things like mushrooms and what else was some other drug as well. Researching these drugs. Was he using them? His friend, Martin is his last name. R.J. Martin. I think that's what it is. Martin, definitely the last name. And was asked if he was on drugs regularly. Maybe he had a break, but the guy wouldn't answer. So, not that I saw, whatever. You're living with him in the commune. This is the anti-white hero. So, did he just decide, don't like how I'm going to throw the biggest tantrum imaginable and I'm going to go and murder the CEO? Now, we don't know if he had United Healthcare as his insurance. At least I don't know. If one of you know, then you could tell me. But then he's going to go murder the guy? Possibly. But you know who else frequents congregations of disaffected people other than just disaffected people? Government agencies and quasi-government and private that are looking for people to carry out acts for them. Know that even though Mangione here might have been out of shape over the fact that he couldn't get any treatment he wanted, and so therefore he was just going to go murder to make a piss poor statement with this manifesto, this joke of a manifesto. For him, it might have been about that. But for maybe people, if he was working with anybody else, there was a different agenda. Brian Thompson is under investigation for insider trading. He's close, or was close, as I've read, with Nancy Pelosi, or his company and the work he does with Nancy Pelosi. We also have the phenomenon of a new administration coming in that want to clean up the garbage, and the rats are getting nervous. And we know that health insurance, there's a lot of garbage. When you net in the scores of billions of profit a year, There's a lot going on there that is criminal, unfair, unethical, immoral. So there could have been a different agenda if there were people helping him out, because it's kind of odd to go from Hawaii and to come back to the continental United States, obtain a weapon, a silencer, multiple fake IDs, and know exactly where Brian Thompson is going to be that exact morning. Challenging, not impossible, but definitely challenging, especially for somebody as capricious as Mangione here, it would seem, at least. Not a genius. After murdering Brian Thompson, rides right off, keeps the belongings with him that could end up getting him killed if he's caught out in public. He didn't say anything about wanting to die for this cause. So if he wanted to be caught, he would have gone to a police station. But instead, he was on the run in the same clothing with the firearm, with the fake IDs he used. The anti-whites, what's really pertinent for us is that the anti-whites are celebrating this because Mangione looks like that. And Brian Thompson, I don't know, do they have his picture here? Brian Thompson looks like you know that he looks. That's why, that's really when it comes down to it, that's what they're celebrating. You remember the primary motivator of an anti-white is jealousy and envy. Those are the primary motivators. But then secondary motivators creep in, like lust and rapine, financial reward, empowerment. And so destroying the white man, especially the wealthy at the top of a company, in their delusional minds, equates to getting that much closer to the financial reward of destroying the white man's capitalism. If Mangione here looked more like Brian Thompson, and Brian Thompson looked more like any run-of-the-mill non-white person, the anti-whites would not be celebrating this. Carried a handwritten manifesto of grievances against the industry, police said Tuesday, giving a possible motive. Luigi Mangione, or Mangione, 26, yelled and struggled with officers as he was led into court in Pennsylvania, where wearing an orange jumpsuit. I wouldn't be surprised now. I know I've seen all these videos with a lot of white, anti-white females, and they're donning the attire of Mangione on the run. So I wouldn't be surprised now if they're suddenly donning the orange jumpsuit. Yelled and struggled with officers as he was led into court in Pennsylvania wearing an orange jumpsuit. He is accused of murdering United Healthcare chief executive Brian Thompson on Manhattan Street last week, triggering a nationwide manhunt that ended Monday when he was recognized at McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Mangione fought his extradition to New York, a complaint which Blair County prosecutor Peter Weeks described as creating more hoops to jump through, and a judge denied him bail as the process continues. Kinney said Mangione just decried how the U.S. healthcare system is among the most expensive in the world, and yet the country has a lower life expectancy than other developed nations. Of course, he's not controlling for everything else in that. I mean, this is your typical anti-white bullshit. It's just like the health insurance is, the benefits, the health system, best in the world. But yet Americans are dying at this, or totally ignoring all of these other factors, disease, race, what people are eating. Just ignore all of that. I think probably for Mangione, it was a tantrum. It was just an anti-white, coddled baby tantrum. And if he was acting alone, then that's all it was. But probably, or at least there's a possibility, that he was being helped by people who had a different agenda but pretended that they shared his agenda. Police have not confirmed reports the words delay and deny, language used by insurers to reject claims, were written on bullet casings found at the scene. Suspect was shaking. So I want you to imagine, and I'll read this, guys. It's so short, I'll read it to you. Let me put that up on the screen. His manifesto. But I want you to see the future for the white race, where gunning down white people is applauded from coast to coast. Who was gunned down that day? Was it the capitalists? Was it the insurance companies? You're not taking down capitalism, killing some executive. You're not taking down the insurance companies, killing some executive. The white race was attacked that day. And the celebration of the murder is a sick, demented, anti-white, human sacrificial celebration of killing the white race. This is what he wrote on a handwritten letter. How convenient he starts out this way. Very strange, I think. To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. This, in all honesty, this note that he wrote as his manifesto, as I read through, maybe you'll be able to see, it really reads like a high school student who maybe, just got done watching as per the demand and requirement of some anti-white teacher at the high school, some doctor of anti-whiteism, the field doesn't matter, talking about how awful the white race is and Western civilization. To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. He can't be that dumb. He's no genius, but he's not that dumb to think that there's not going to be an investigation into who else he might have talked to, or that other people outside of the police responsible for the investigation are not going to investigate because he said, oh, I just did it on my own. All on my own. But it's also very curious to start off with that. Why would you think police wouldn't investigate? This was like who was the audience for that? It couldn't have been the police department or the FBI, because they're going to investigate, even if they're going to be covering up. So who was that sentence meant for? These sentences. Us. This was fairly trivial. Some element, so this being murdering this guy was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. So he kept meticulous notes of how he acted on his own. Methinks the lady doth protest too much. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. The parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the U.S. has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly 42nd in life expectancy. Therefore, white people have to die. United is the, and then it says indecipherable, I guess because his handwriting was garbage. United is the largest company in the U.S. by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. It has grown and grown. But has our life expectancy? Again, look at how stupid this is. Look at how midwit this is. Good memory can do good on test taking. Look how dumb this is. No, the reality is these, again, indecipherable, have simply gotten too powerful, and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Really, again, sounding like a high schooler wrote it. Obviously, he finishes, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space. And frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person. I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. And yet you murdered someone? So no noble, no like righteous, no student of the problem who struggled and wrestled with it. No, not qualified to write on it. Just qualified enough to kill some random CEO. Happens to be a white guy. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed. Rosenthal has. So Rosenthal told you to kill, and more told you to kill Brian Thompson. I wonder, don't wonder for long, this is facetious. I wonder if people like Rosenthal are going to be investigated and potentially charged for instigating the murder of Brian Thompson. Because you know damn well and good that if anybody in the white sympathetic sphere, and it's already happened in the past, as much as has something read by someone who not even in agreement, just read it by somebody who produces content in the white sympathetic sphere, immediately there's an investigation. Immediately there's a conflation with murder. My guess is not going to happen with Rosenthal or any other Jewish authors because they're not white and the system is anti-white. Decades ago, so they wrote about it decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. Sneaking up behind someone and shooting them in the back. A father, he's got kids and everything. And I'm talking about just generally. I'm totally opposed to the way that the health insurance companies treat the population. They should not be allowed in a white Western world where anti-whiteism, the victimizing our people by corrupt white anti-whites, isn't permitted. So the barriers have to come down to competition. That's what has to happen. And there has to be an entirely new system for regulating and observing. One that Maybe just live stream everything to the internet so that there's no way there can be regulatory capture. And I guarantee you, it's within the genius of white people to figure out a system like that to make it work. But his brutal honesty on the writings of anti-whites spurs him without as much of a blink of investigation, not even being able to articulate the arguments that motivated him to murder a man, to head up to New York and magically find Brian Thompson, 7 a.m., heading from point A to point B, walking down the street, all by himself. So you got a lot of people talking, and I wanted to also say about this. You got a lot of people talking about this and spinning wild yarns for wild conspiracy's sake to bring themselves attention and clicks and follows and everything. Be cynical as all hell. You all in this community know that. Be cynical as all hell when it comes to this stuff. You're just getting into the weeds of it. What that are the vast majority, if not all, are going to be fabricated. Keep your eyes on the things that we can know, and only one tick away from that to speculate and not move forward into the speculation. Detail, acknowledge, and edify on the anti-white narrative based on what we know, and let's move forward with the recapture of our destiny so that we can put an end to the exploitation. This is a great example, the exploitation of the medical industry. It's a great example of dud-doos, and just get rid of the dud-doos and everything is fine. The Brian Thompsons are still going to be at the top. They're still going to use anti-whiteism to their benefit. Nothing is fixed by doing that. Nothing. The anti-whiteism begins and ends in us. We address this. We put an end to that moral imperative that's sliding the whole ship into the sea at this angle, and we were able to recapture our destiny. Luigi Mangione. Do you all have anything to say about that? I'm going to get your comments, your insights. Do you know anything? We'll take a look at a couple of very interesting things, some funny things. You know, just to kind of clean the palate. I want to take a look at this because this is revelatory. Cleaning the palate. Have a listen to this.
I could not resist, so I had to look it up. From the Office of National Statistics, from a 2019 study, in ever-increasing numbers, we are now at a lesbian divorce rate of 72%.
Okay, up here it says 75%. So these are females who are attracted to other females, getting married and divorcing at a rate up on top here. It says it's 75%.
So the top four.
Now, this is the really interesting part. I thought, at least, that the reason, this is a colossal divorce rate. The top 4 reasons that they give for divorce are the same ones they give when they're married to men.
4 reasons that they are reporting getting divorced is feeling ignored, inequality in the partnership, adultery, and domestic violence. Personally, I feel like this lends some weight to men's arguments and complaints about how women are behaving in relationships. Because when you have lesbian divorce statistics that look like that, the girls are kind of telling on themselves.
I think so. I think she's right. So the same reasons that women give in increasing numbers to divorce men, give in colossal numbers to divorce other women. Is it men or is it women? Lesbian females coming to the same conclusion that straight men have, says Fournel. Yep, you can't live with them and you can't live with them. All right, let me take a look at your tags, and then we will see if there are any financial gifts and some of the funnies that we have here. We'll take a look at. We've already been rolling for 2 hours. Mangione. Sloth says anti-whiteism allows this murder to happen. They know they're not getting repercussions that heretics to anti-whiteism would get. Yeah, precisely. Very well written, Sloths. Absolutely, 100%. And there's Sloth saying 100% to something I said. Anti-white out is with us. Good to see you. Looking to see if there are any other tags. And Cockatoo is in the live chat as I scroll up. Hello to you. The nameless one is here. Oh, did we have a soy goy in the live chat? The head of the snake. That is so dim-witted. And it's fine. It's fine. We all have our talents and our limitations. But there is no head of the snake for anti-whiteism. That is a mid-wit, superficial, and unproductive take about our victimization and does nothing to remedy or end our victimization. You can talk like I know old guys that have talked about that their whole life and are dead. I know old guys that have talked about that and now live at home in senescent, aged mess because all of their family has left them. They live at home alone because of it. I know old guys that have talked about that forever, and now they're in old folks' homes, and they have to lie to the non-whites who are taking care of them how much they like them. Don't be pathetic like that. And not just you personally, but anyone. Don't be pathetic like that. You will talk your whole life saying, it da do's, and ruin your life and not do anything to end our victimization. So if you would like to be productive, then the Go Free dialogic is the only way to go. Honestly, you're just shooting yourself in the face with this error. Head of the snake. My God, it really takes rank midwittery and superficial takes. You go out and you listen to content creators that spend all day long, every week, every month, for the years of their lives, their whole lives, talking about Jews who are anti-white. That's all they do. They don't talk about any other anti-whites. And then you wonder how you don't understand that anti-whiteism exists without Jewish people? I mean, get your head out of your ass and go broaden your perspectives. No shit. And I find it endlessly hilarious that these people, just by the way, these people who focus their whole lives on Jews and what Jews are doing and etc., what Jews are up to and what Jews are going to do next, not a single one of them predicted that Syria would fall. Not one. Not one of them said, with their eyes this close on Jewish people, endless dissecting Jewish people, endless doom documenting about only anti-whites that are Jewish, and all that they know everything about them. They know every Jewish person. They know all about their different idiosyncrasies in their religion. They call themselves by the words that Jewish people have given non-Jews. And yet not a single one said, hey, you know what's really interesting going to happen? The civil war in Syria is going to kick up again. And there's going to be zero resistance. How much do you want to bet that all of these soy goys, these Jew stalkers, shadow stalkers, following the Jews around, how much do you want to bet every single one of them are going to say, the Jews did it. The Jews did it. That's all you all got. You throw a dart on a wall painted white, and then you, wherever that dart lands, you run up over there and you take a red paint, you paint a bullseye around that dart, and you write Jew over top of it. That's all you all do. You couldn't even predict the day before the al-Nusra Front and former ISIS and Al-Qaeda and the names they're going by now were going to jump out of northwest Syria, the little corner that they had been quarantined in, and walk unopposed from one city to the next to Damascus. And yet you want to show up in my live chat and say, you got it wrong. You got to be talking about the Jews. Fuck that. What fucking losers. This is the AIDS. This is the AIDS of our resistance to our victimization. You're not allowed to talk about how anti-whiteism functions in society. You're not allowed to talk about the well-being of white people. You're not allowed to talk about making white people healthy. You're not allowed to talk about, we could go on and on and on. You're not allowed to talk about any of that unless it is a caboose on the ass end of a train that's all about Jews. And then it's an afterthought. So when you're ready to actually do something about our victimization, come back, please. Come back. We need white people actually doing something about our victimization. We're doing it here. We are succeeding. We've had enormous victories. And yet still, one of their, this is funny, video clip, one of these individuals who just are like this close on Jews 24/7. One of them made a comment the other day that the longest lasting conflict in the 21st century is the Syrian civil war. And this guy is regarded as super bright, and you have to listen to him, and he knows the way. Super bright. The last I checked, the number 13 for 13 years didn't come after the number 20 for the number of years that the Afghanistan war was fought, dipshit. The longest conflict, 13 years. And they think he's so super bright. Forno said that Bernard Getz commented on, I'm sorry, not Gates, but Getz. Did you mean Getz? Commented on Penny's case? No, I didn't see that. Can you DM it to me if you have it? So, you have these kind of comments. If the Jews were gone, we would hold the media. Would we? How would we? How do you know? How do you know? Donald Trump just appointed another female and another Indian from India. Harmeet Dillon was just appointed the other day. Remember, she's the one who sang the song to Wahaguru at the RNC. How do you know white people would be in charge of all the media if the Jews could suddenly magically be gone? By the way, that's a nice little wish list you have there. It's a nice little wish list you have there. Do you carry Toto around in that too? One of the biggest jokes, rankest midwittery. Well, if we could just control a Martian space force. Okay, but we can't. Well, you know what? If we could just snap our fingers and all the Jewish people would be gone. Okay, but that's not happening. But I mean, even if to entertain the rank midwittery, we say, how do white people end up controlling all of the media then? How does that happen? You don't know, do you? Oh, it just happens. Really? But how? And how do you know that the white people, I mean, you seem to be suffering from the same problem that anti-whites have, which is that if there's a white person in charge, it automatically means it's good for white people. Which, of course, is the opposite of reality. The vast majority of white people in charge of anything are anti-white. Then we would control, that's the other one. Then we'll control the banks. Then we will control we will. You mean somebody who is white will somehow come into power, and given the anti-white morality of the West, they're going to do what? Like MAGA. They're going to white erase all the males. They're going to Harmeet Dillon the shit out of you all. Yeah, but just keep walking around, keep waddling around. This is the thing that really is irritating. I've gotten into arguments with these people in person a time or two. And a time just came to mind where it was a house, and I don't know how many, there were 7 or so, 8. And I said, I got mad, and I was just like, there'll literally be 8 of us left. And your dumb ass will still be saying, if we just get rid of the Jews, shut the fuck up. God damn it. All right. Yeah, come back when you actually want to do something. Yeah, this imbecile now saying, oh yeah, you don't want to say that the Jews are behind it all, and that's why this channel doesn't get taken down. That's another interesting point there, that the soy goys get so wrong. When you have a people and the individual members work for individual well-being by way of their group's well-being, that's a positive. That's a good thing. That's not an immoral thing. That's not an unethical thing. And so you're going to complain that Jewish people look out for each other? How dare they look out for each other? Seems to be working. Seems to be working for them. It's the big problem, though, is that, as I said, too many of these midwit white people, they just don't know when to shut up. They just don't know, even when they can look back at error after error after error, loss after loss after loss. They can't look back and say, that's not appropriate. That clearly doesn't work. They're too stupid. Somebody should have told me this guy was in the chat. So that I could introduce a beatdown. To their stupidity. Sloth's saying it right there beautifully. You can't create a people out of a shadow of another. Precisely. A bunch of shadow stalkers complaining about a success strategy is not a people. And wish listing your ass off. Do you have anything other, by the way, if you're still here, do you have anything other than a wish? Do you have anything productive or just a wish? Is that all you got? You got wishes. Let me just get this right. Ivan was also a J Spurg before. He said, Ivan felt some strange compulsion to watch No White Guilt for some reason, that's because Prometheus spoke to you, my friend. Ivan started watching the No White Guilt, and now Ivan is here. And that's because the Ivan is smart. Prometheus spoke to the Ivan, and Ivan was smart enough to get it. All right. What were we going to do next? Let's see. How about another palate clean? This will blow your mind. This will totally blow your mind. Clean of White Noir over here on Twitter live chat says, confront, challenge, and dispel anti-white meme pathogens. Precisely. Yeah, you could do that. You could confront, challenge, and dispel meme pathogens, which are those weird words that Jason in a No White Guilt community uses. Or you could just say, eat the dudes. If we could suddenly make a bigger planet to get on the planet, and then we would own all the medias. Okay. Yeah. Confront, challenge, and dispel the meme pathogens, or just a vegetable like keep repeating the dudes. Why did anybody ever give these kind of people any time of day? Check this amazing thing out. Okay, this is high tide. I want you to see like this little eagle thing on top of this post. It's relevant. This is high tide versus low tide. And it says here, the moon is at perigee today. Now, perigee is just a technical term for the point in an orbit of a celestial body, in this case, the moon, or an artificial satellite, when it is closest to the Earth. Apogee is when it is furthest away. Okay? So they're taking this video when the moon is closest, and therefore the tide is at its highest. All right? Watch this.
Perigee today, which means we are getting the highest tides of the entire year this month and next month. It's high tide right now. I'm going to come back in
Pay close attention to this woman here. There's the eagle.
6 hours. I want you to guess how much higher.
Any guesses? I will embiggen. Any guesses how much higher the eagle will be up at low tide? So in other words, the dock floating is going to sink. How much higher? Anybody want to guess? Is the eagle going to be? It's a game of participation. There you have it. There's the eagle thing. Right by where it says high tide. It doesn't look like you can see my cursor. Oh, well. You can see where it says high tide. There's the eagle. The Great Fournol says 300 feet. Well. The Ivan says 50 feet or higher. Actually, both are good guesses. Let's see.
This is going to be above me because the ramp is going to drop.
Okay. There she is. Oh, you can see my cursor now. There she is. That's her. This is that same pole. Is that not insane?
6 hours later, and
6 hours later.
here we are. Same post, same dock, same ramp. But, yeah, hello up there.
Can you believe that? They're saying in the chat, some people are saying 30 meters. I read somewhere 30 meters. That can't be right. But this is insane. Somebody does ask, though, in the chat here, how do the flat earthers explain this? Well, easily, you just tip the tray. That's how you do that. This person said that he's seen 2 to 3 meters, but this is insane. This really is insane. Frenella's the winner. I can't believe it can be that drastic. All right, let's see. Over here on entropy, we are blank, except for fed up of this shit is in the chat. Nothing specifically for me, but hello to you. Look over here. Aliens exist. Says that is wild, the high tide. Really is. I was blown away when I saw that. And we have, wow, oh my gosh, over there on D Live, 25 lemons. Is that right? Is it fiendling? Fiending? I think it's fiending. 25 lemons. God, thank you. 25 lemons of cryptocurrency. That is really cool. Thank you very much. And over here on Odyssey, let's see, when was that? I don't know. That was day. Nothing new, but hello to anybody who's over there. All right. And just to remind you, I don't have to click. I can see very clearly Premium Rumble, live chat of Twitter, and YouTube, of course, over here. And we have, get out your raucous emojis. Big salutes. Big salutes. Maki. Maki financially gifting 25 white well-being dollars. God bless you, brother. Really appreciate that. From the great Maki. Coming in here. It's December. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go. Take a look at the 5 and 10. It's glistening once again with candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store. But the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. $25. Bing. From Maki. God bless you. Thank you for that, brother. The power. All right. Swivel around back here to the captain's chair. See if we've missed anything else. We'll share some of these. What is this? A divorce lawyer? We'll have a look at what this divorce lawyer has to say. I don't remember.
This is what I call the unbreakable rule.
So this guy, this divorce lawyer, is sharing with us the unbreakable rule. And then I will tell you all my story of the garden gnome.
A woman can never, ever, ever allow herself to disrespect the man that she wants to be in a long-term committed relationship.
Oh, isn't that interesting? If a woman, according to this divorce lawyer, wants to be in a long-term relationship with a man, she can never disrespect him.
With. And
why is that? He'll tell us.
There's a number of reasons for that, but
thank you.
One of the least appreciated ones is that if a woman allows herself to disrespect this man and he allows that as well, then over time, the dynamic of that relationship will shift to the point where that woman is functionally with a shell of a man that is no longer a person that she can respect or be attracted to.
Make sure you note that, guys, because a woman will continue to say, oh, no, I still have respect for you. If they're disrespecting you, they have no respect for you, none. Even if they want to have respect for you, they can't, because you're tolerating the disrespect.
And that's generally when she looks for the door. So disrespecting a man usually provokes conflict, which rocks the boat.
And to clarify, to make sure, a lot of people misunderstand giving respect to mean that you don't question the authority. It doesn't mean that. Guys all the time are giving each other respect and therefore not instigating a fist fight with our brothers. So that's what a woman has to be able to do. It does not mean that she never gets to have any input or she never gets to make a decision about anything in the relationship or the house. It doesn't mean that. But it is vitally important to exercise that respect, because especially in a male-female situation, for the exact reason this defense attorney or this divorce lawyer is articulating here, she loses all respect for him. It's just a snowball.
Which goes against the things that I was talking about earlier. And it decreases a woman's own attraction for a man, especially.
She stops being attracted to you. How can she be attracted to a guy that is she doesn't have respect for, that she can push around? She can't.
Especially if he doesn't respond effectively. And what do they say in the Bible? It's like,
I like this.
A wise woman builds her house with her hands and tears it down, with her mouth.
Builds a house with her hands and then tears it down with her mouth. Well, we just heard the lesbian divorce rate. If that's accurate, of course, check it out. I did not look at the study. I shared with you a video of a woman who shared information about the study, and she said where you could find it. So it kind of seems like, and then we had this other story. I could actually pull it up. We'll see. About this woman. What was her name? I don't know if it's in any of my notes. I think her name was Lily, but it's not the Lily that went soy goy on us. A different Lily. Although maybe Lily Gaddis is heading in that direction. She had sex with 100 men. And then some clown came along and did this like documentary to talk with her about this debaucherous, vulgar destruction of Western civilization. And she cried about it. And all these people all over Twitter are blaming the men. She and her team put out notice to be one of the guys of the 100 that get to bang her. And guys answered that notice. And then they were qualified or disqualified, and then they participated in the debauchery. But the females, it's kind of like the accountability thing is so true. They have this infinite inability. They say it's accountability is kryptonite to a woman. So even though it is 100% this woman's fault, all of these anti-white females are blaming the males for the patriarchy, which is another word for Western civilization, white men. But we'll see. We've already been rolling for an hour or 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Wing of Production says, I fear many women don't comprehend the difference between respect and fear. Fear is an element of respect. It's like a touch of fear in what respect overall is. But you're probably right that, well, maybe to articulate it this way, when respect is not given, depending on the circumstance, it has to be taken. And depending on the circumstances, it is usually with a whiff of violence, whether it be like physical violence or violence through some other mechanism. So in the past, when Western civilization balanced relationships by giving men, by keeping the creators of society, the fighters for society, the guys, the people who die, the guys for society, keeping them in their proper seat and not giving women more power because nature had already empowered them enough in the relationship. When it was like that, there were these mechanisms that if she decided she was going to try the kind of things that women do today, that there would be this force. There would be social opprobrium. Her family, people would turn away from her. So she had to keep those feelings in check. I read something totally appropriate today, that a man will sacrifice his life for his family, but a woman will sacrifice her family for her feelings. And God, isn't that what we see everywhere? But we all have to go around, and don't you dare, anybody out there, think about writing me and saying, oh, but girls won't like that. Girls will be, we're speaking the truth. And women of the West know the truth. It's effectively what's happening in this Lily sex with 100 guys in one day thing. She's literally said, why didn't somebody stop me? Or intimated it. There was a whole interview. And the girl, all the females now that are writing about it are all saying the same thing, either explicitly or indirectly. The guys should have stopped. Well, what that is saying, and you hear this from females all the time, if you can read between the lines, is, I can't control my emotions. You have to. And we used to. We absolutely used to. There was a social condemnation for a woman going haywire. Not anymore. So women are still saying, like this Lily, I can't control myself, so you have to. They're literally saying things like, well, it's this disgusting society that men, and by that they mean white men, create. And that's why Lily ends up doing this, because that's all she can do to make herself a success. So it's men's fault. Well, therefore you're crying out for us to control it. Well, we could do it. Trust me. Men of the West could control it real fast. But the only way we're going to be able to do that, in large part, is in harmonious couplings with women who capitulate to the authority of men. Willingly capitulate, because they can see everything that has gone bad as a consequence. But what does that tell you? What did the woman just get done saying? I can't control my feelings, so you have to. So when the burden is on her to control herself, to capitulate, so that you can be the authority figure, so that you can make the decisions that should be the province of a man, it's saying that it can't be done. She can't control her feelings. She'll burn the family down. She'll take the children and run. She'll on and on and on. And that's where we are today. Which is, you say to yourself, but Jason, then what? The go free dialogic. I already know this. I know about men. I know about women. I know what is instinctual and natural and what are the most common behaviors and the most common outcomes. The go free dialogic remedies this. Restore our norms and mores. And women, as much as men, want to use the concepts when they're presented with them, when they have an opportunity, when they're not being run off by somebody like that was in the chat who's saying, oh, don't follow this guy. He's a Fed if Fed will run them off. He's a Jew if me being a Jew would run them off. Whatever it is. Oh, he's a womanizer if being a womanizer will run them off. That's what they do. So women will take up the narrative that will make harmony of the white family. My God. It's almost like the white race created all of us who are here to make this happen. All right. What did I pull up here? Just a few more fun items. I don't even know what I think this is a funny dog. Let's watch and laugh. Look at that little dog. They put shoes on it. And he looks like he's got his legs stuck out in front of him. Like he's a little furry person. Like Nick Fuentes. That's about as long as Nick's legs. For white well-being is with us, he said, go free. Yeah, exactly. Go free, damn it. It's Christmas time, so let's take a look at this beautiful house. We don't need the audio. The woman is just annoying. Oops. But visually, it's splendid. Look at this house. Talk about Griswold and running the power down in the whole city. Golly. Look at that. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Anybody else done their house like that this year? Look, the house beside bothered to put a couple of lights up. Jeez. I've been thinking we need our own Santa. They're going to try stealing the Ivan the Horrible said it's awesome. The Ivan says he doesn't even have a Christmas tree. Slots is right. Pristine. Amen to that. Now, I'm not going to show you this, but this is another example. Well, I'm going to show it to you, but let's see. How can I? Let's start with something else so we can change the. Have you all had any Christmas stories lately? Anything going on with family or friends? Christmas time? Let's check this out.
So if that's a nutcracker, would that be a nut? So if that's a nutcracker, would that be a nut?
Nightingale. It is. It's a nut nightingale. Nice. All right. I will not show you because this would be not suitable for YouTube, I think. So we're not going to show you her walking. Take a look at this. This is a former country music singer who said that she left country music and the country music scene because it was sexist. So in other words, it's not anti-white enough. One of these smears to destroy. Of course, it's in the white man's civilization that she has made more money in a year than I'll make in my entire lifetime. But she left the scene because it's not anti-white enough. She walks across the stage with that skirt and it appears nothing on underneath. I mean, it really appears to be the case. So the woman that left because of the the heresy of country music. Could you imagine how anti-white would you have to be to say that country music was too heretical? Wasn't anti-white enough? How anti-white are you? Well, so anyhow, you remember from that cartoon, I thought I saw a pootie tat. Well, they play that in the background and she walks across the stage and yeah, I think you did. This is pretty funny. A woman is attempting to get her daughter to take some medicine. And the husband, the father, is videotaping the interaction. He probably finds it funny. But then she says something that he finds really funny.
Just put it in your mouth and swallow it and pretend like you like it. Gross. Just put it in your mouth and swallow it and pretend like you like it.
I love that look she gives him. That is like, how many times has he said that to her? Just put it in your mouth and swallow it and pretend like you like it.
Gross. Just put it in your mouth and swallow it and pretend like you like it.
Oh, that's funny as hell. He's like, yeah, I've heard that a time or two. I've had to say that a time or two. Look at this lady. She's like, I'm trying to get the kid to take some medicine. Stop laughing. Put it in your mouth, swallow it, and pretend like you like it. I'm going to remember that one. Oh my God, this is great. This is a father with his sick little boy. And I love it. Except his little yell. I don't like the dad's. The dad has a little yell, but it's fine. But this is fantastic. Watch this. So there he is. Oh, let me embiggen. He's on the sofa. Little boy is on his chest. He's sick. Gentile gentleman said, what did I just walk into? All right. So father, sick little boys can, and here we go.
Oh!
And then the kid puts his head down in it. Who gave that kid like 6 gallons of milk to eat? Wow. I love it. I love it. Right before the second heave, Dad's smiling, and they're both smiling at each other. He goes back to patting him. There he is. Oh, sick little baby.
Oh!
Now watch he smile. Dad, look, Dad starts smiling. Wait. Right now, Dad's smiling at the little boy. He's like, okay, Pops. There we go. Oh, that's funny. Yep, Pop's just lying there, taking that vomit like a champ. That's what dads are for. I wanted to get you all. There's this video. It was so heartwarming to me. And maybe I'll find it for next time. I don't know. But it was a little boy, 2.5. And he's standing up on this stack of hay bales. And the dad goes up like this. The little boy leaps off, arms in the air like he's flying, and falls like 4-5 feet to Dad catching him. God, that was just awesome. But instead, I have this to share with you. San Francisco defund the police advocate trolled after U-Haul with all her possessions gets stolen. It should happen to all of them all the time. Every time, all the time. It's Christmas time. Some jazzy Christmas. How about some justice from the good Lord? Guy standing up at the pulpit, he's sharing a bit of a sermon, and the good Lord makes an appearance.
Be the future of the church and of our world is truly in the hands of what Martin Luther King Jr. called the creatively maladjusted.
The future of the church is in the hands of the creatively maladjusted, so anti-white.
Maybe minorities, sexual and gender minorities, have something to teach the church.
Minorities, i.e. non-white people, that's a meme pathogen, you don't call them minorities. So, and people of sexual orientations other than heterosexual, they've got something to teach the church, he says. Maybe they've got something to teach the church.
About dying to self, about new life.
About dying to self, about new life. And of course, when he says that, something to teach the church, what is that church? But a church of the West. The church of the West. The church that we make of Christianity, of our biospirit. Right? He says all of these, we're going to burn it down because maybe there's a better way.
About That is not a sign of God's judgment, okay?
It is a sign of God's judgment. That absolutely is a sign of God's judgment. Right as he says that, thunder claps and the power goes out. Well, depending upon where you are in the world, snow might already be falling heavily, and it will for many more of us in the coming months. And you might get mad, but not nearly as mad as your Jeep. When your Jeep is just as upset as you are about the weather. And what else do we have? I think we got one more. One more here. Don't you hate it when your coworkers take credit for something they didn't do. When that coworker that did nothing says, "We did it," that dog was looking with some harsh judgment, wasn't he? How dare you? That's the hardest side eye I have ever seen. You know what that would work perfect to with that little video? Those memes where it's the girls saying, "I've never brought a guy home before. I've never done." And then the dog's like, bullshit. All right, I don't think or maybe I do. This is her, in case you just wanted to see. The skank and the girls that are coming out to defend her now. This is her. Lily Phillips. Everyone keeps hating on Lily Phillips, but they ignore the 101 men. I thought that was the Dalmatians who participated. The ratio of sick men to women is the reason few women become this sick. Yeah, it's all the guy's fault. Well, just so you know, after she did the little crying and she said, "Oh, well, somebody should have stopped me," or intimated that, whichever it was, she then posted a video saying that 2025, she's going to do 1,000 guys. So, yeah. That is where we are. Let me see what your final comments are. You want me to tell you about my idea with the gnomes? Here's what I was going to do. I was going to, this was like kind of like a dream I wanted to pull off. Have a party, and, well, you know, I would have to own a house. So let's say I owned a house, have a party, and I was going to hire a bunch of little people to dress up like gnomes and be in and among the bushes and the shrubbery. And they were going to be, you know, like holding still. Maybe they would be trained, probably at Juilliard, and they would be holding still like they're actual gnome statues. And the party would start late, maybe in wintertime, so the sun would be down and be dark, and the people would be pulling in with their headlights. Yeah, I actually thought about this a lot. I thought about this a lot. And the people would be pulling in. And so their headlights would land on the little people dressed up like gnomes. And then they were going to be instructed, the little people, to, like, one of them here, one of them there, to move just a little bit. You know, and so that when the headlights are on them, just a tiny bit of a movement. And then, of course, my guests would come in and they would say, like, "Jason, what the hell? You've got like garden gnomes all over the front of your house. And we saw one or two of them move. Are they real? Like, are there people out there dressed up?" And I would say, "What are you, on drugs? Don't come to my party on drugs. What's wrong with you?" And of course, we would be liquoring everybody up really good, because the big feast, the big party would start. I would get everybody over casually, like right in front of some massive bay windows so they could see out into the yard. And then right before their very eyes, a gnome war. And gnomes would charge from one side of the yard, and gnomes would charge from the other side of the yard. And there would be this big colossal battle right in my front yard or side yard or wherever. After perfectly denying that there was any movement in my garden gnomes when they arrived. real plan of mine. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to make my... Wouldn't I be a fun millionaire? My God. You would want to come to all my millionaire parties. And that, of course, was mentioned because of the question of the day, which you may or may not have participated in while we were together for our glorious get-together. But that was the question of the day. Hey, if you want to participate in the question of the day in the thread below, once we wrap up and it processes, feel free to do so. Aliens Exist says, based advice from a divorce lawyer that we were watching a little earlier. Thank you. Yeah, that was. He sees how they get ruined. Wing Production says, what's the height requirement for my gnomes? Oh, I don't know. What's the average, as it just hits 11:11 on the East Coast, United States? What's the average height of a little person? Slots is recommending to Furian to tag me. Let's see. Can I see him in the live chat? Am I even allowed to see him in the live chat? YouTube? Let's see. I see one comment. Oh, Masizo Carf is here. Good to see you, brother. Says half of millennial women are single and childless. This is karma. Is that the one, Slots, that you were trying to bring my attention to? Every minister, pastor, priest, or preacher should be required to lift. Scrawny, girly men shouldn't be allowed at any kind of pulpit. I agree with that. Absolutely. I agree with that. Machiavelli Sucks is here. Hello and welcome. Man o' War is in the house. I'm not a... No, that wasn't it, Sloth says. Let's see if there's another Forgotten Ryan for Ryan that I can find. Let's try the sometimes useful, sometimes useless. Okay, I see that one. Forgotten Mind says, I don't, why he doesn't care about stuff. Oh, that came after. Oh, it's right above Slots. Is that it? Right above your comment. He says, Nick Fuentes is a fun millionaire. You would be a preachy millionaire. After what I just told you. Well, my friend, you are definitely in the wrong place. If your thing is a little closeted guy that attacks old ladies with a weapon and goes on dates with toe suckers, then that's your thing, my friend. Not mine. Although maybe you're just drunk tonight. White positive, all rights reserved. So they can't listen to it. Well, but I wasn't going to say, but Fuentes was the one who said that the Syrian civil war was the longest in the 21st century conflict, 13 years, compared to the 20 years of Afghanistan. He also did not predict the Jews, quote unquote, taking down Syria, but that's only his specialty. That's only what he talks about endlessly. Not today, Satan, says Promethean healing. Gentile gentleman said, can confirm about the vomiting child that every child does it at least once. Oh, I'm sure more than once. Slot says he must get drunk many nights. He is a regular ass, but comes to the stream anyway. For Ryan, it's a competition in Little Nicky. One that's all he has, all the white people swag. Yeah, you've been drinking heavily, my friend. A synagogue in Aussieland was burned, and now they all issued warnings for the Jewish travelers. I want to know when they're doing the same about the anti-whiteism. That's the correct response to that. The jealousy that the soy goys would express about that, see, they get what they want, is feckless, unproductive, is not focused on white people at all in our well-being. It doesn't help us at all. Just complaining that some people out of the entire group of people who identify as Jewish will help each other out, this really moral thing, and therefore they get the government to say, hey, watch out. Just complaining about that is to do nothing. Really to be a selfish individualist. But that's what they do. That's what they've done all along, is just look at a success strategy and then bitch about it. Just bitch about it. Meanwhile, Harmeet is from the Republican Party, is going to be preaching to what? Remember during the RNC, Harmeet Dillon did that Sikh prayer, sang an entire song, and thanked Wahoo Guru for America, that Wahoo Guru had given us America. I mean, there's no greater insult. The spirit of the West inside of Westman gave us America, and it's dying, being white erased everywhere. So yeah, that's the proper response. Gentile gentleman says, we're not supposed to be drunk? Well, it depends on what kind of drunk you are, my friend. I'm a hilarious when I drink, which is rare. Hilarious. Dai Shadi is here. Good to see you. Nameless one. I think you were here from the beginning. So we didn't come up with the average height. I would shoot for the average height of little people so that I could employ the most of them for the entertainment. That would be so epic. The only thing I tried to figure out over the years was, what are they going to be fighting with? Like, do I really want them killing each other? Like, am I going to give them machetes and pitchforks? Like smaller ones than normal? Or do I give them things like boxing gloves? That might be good. It might be a little bit more humane to let them box it out in the yard. And it'll be a real thing. Like, whichever team wins will get a bonus. There's probably some policy on YouTube. No, of course, I would want all of the little people to be safe. I would not harm them. And they would be able to take the job if they wanted or not. If they wanted to fight to the death or not. Wing in Production says 72 virgins. In heaven. I will supply them to you in the afterlife. And I'll hold a flashlight under my face the whole time. You will receive them in the afterlife, my small friends. Baguettes and tennis rackets. The ultimate battle. Oh, the anti-white in the chat is eliminated. Went too far. Oh, I see. So, Forgotten for Ryan is now going to be forgotten. Forgotten, folks. Forget about it. Forget about Forgotten Ryan. He just said that little Nicky and being anti-Jewish is fun. And then he says, the dialectics and lexicon mean nothing. Well, well. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. Well, I mean, you really got it all right there, didn't you? Isn't that exactly what we know about these people? They have the anti-Jews, the soy goys, the people who shadow stalk the Jewish people. They've given up. Nothing can be done. All they want to do is be selfish little curs and laugh and poke fun and complain. And that's what draws the audience. That's his audience is composed of those kind of people. That's home for Forgotten for Ryan. Because work, responsibility, making a difference in the world, improving yourself, protecting white children, protecting, if you're a male, striving to be a white man, and protecting our women and children, reclaiming our destiny everywhere that we have the power to do so. God, you just get to really see here at the end of our roll-in those two completely different mindsets. And instead of just, buggering off and going into that land of misery where these losers make Fuentes a millionaire, and in particular, it really happened from the one guy who killed himself because of how bleak he believed the future to be after listening to that doomed documenter. They make this guy, they give their money to him. More, please. And I thought, in all honesty, I was talking to an old timer on the phone the other day. I actually thought that a bigger percentage of people in the white sympathetic sphere wanted to do something, wanted to make a difference in the world, because they couldn't. How I looked out, and that was my error of projecting myself, looking out at the world, seeing the misery, looking at what's being done to our people, and my heart breaking, especially for white children. And I think, won't almost every adult, sure, there are sick losers out there, but won't almost every adult, like a big percentage, want to stop this? Want to make a difference? Won't they? Nope. That's why we are the Church of the West. And sometimes people have to be excommunicated. We elevate people to sainthood and we do magnificent things. And sometimes people have to be excommunicated and fed to the wood chipper of history. All right, let's see what else is left, and then we're going to roll out. Making sure we didn't miss anybody on any of these locations. Nope, looks good. How about in the chat here? Nope. We're almost time to break out the Fornilia Nullis musician. If you missed the Monday for the Dragons, you really missed this past. Yiz and Fernald were amazing. Fernald was sharing all of much of the Fernald backstory. You thought you were going to have to wait for the 6-part movie, but he was cluing you in if you were there. All right. Didn't miss anybody. What about over here? First Last says, wait a minute. I think that's the first time I'm seeing you here tonight. He says, I'm glad I haven't been excommunicated. No. You are one of the saints to be elevated to sainthood, my friend. White Positive says, have a good one. Ciao. Ciao. Thank you. Sorry, brother, First Last. We are wrapping up, my friend. That's funny. When I first read the Sloth's comment about banning him, I thought it said ban the goblin. And I was like, that's appropriate, my friend. How apropos. Oh, he says, check Cash App. Well, we'll see. We'll check Cash App then. There he is. First Last. $5 for White Wellbeing. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Came in there at the end with a 5. He dove up. It's like, there's $5. Champion that he is. He says he's now listening at 400 times speed. All right. We've about made it. Because you know. Let's roll into the Church of the West. Do you all like that? Church of the West. That sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? Church of White Wellbeing. We're the Church of the West. And it is born of the spirit of the West inside of us, the biospirit. Thursday, Yiz will be back on. So tomorrow, with News Fist, Empire of Lies, or the other show that they do. Make sure you check it out over on her channel. I'll be there. First Last likes Church of the West. Until Sunday, unless something weird happens. Roll out.
I'm a white man looking for a place to do my thing. Now hump and get it.
learn a few things and I'll admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta honk and get it. I'm a white man looking for a place to do my thing. I'm a West man looking for a place to do my thing.